What is going on, fighting game fans, and welcome to Wednesday Night Fights. You already know what it is. It's Wednesday, my dudes. And to kick off things with the inaugural World Warrior program, we're kicking things off with the United States West. Specifically, normally we would kind of say North America, but Canada has its own thing going on. We're focusing solely on United States soil. And before we get into everything, my name is Vicious, here with the debut of Flexus going ham for the World Warrior program. It's an absolute honor to finally get you into the realm of a big Capcom event. What's going on, Flexus? How are you feeling today?
I'm really stoked to be here. I love Wednesday Night Fights. Of course, I'm in the West Coast, so I'm loving the West Coast heat that they're gonna bring in. I'm gonna bring the heat and the spice to the mic to make it extra flavorful. Now, I'm curious because we got a lot of flavor in this bracket tonight. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be really interesting. But before we get into the bracket, let's talk a little bit first about what the World Warrior Tour is about. It's a little bit different than what you would see in the normal in-person tournaments.
Right, yeah, we usually have things like, we have some of our locals as well. We do have the Capcom Pro Tour that happens pretty much every single month. But this one is actually very specific, right? You get to compete in monthly events. And as it goes on, week after week, you get to compete in the regional finals. If you happen to win in that regional finals, you are able to qualify for Capcom Cup. More specifically, each region will have their separate region locked ranking tournaments from July up until November. The top 8 highest point scorers by the end of November will compete in the regional final event in December 2022. The winner of the regional final event will earn their rightful spot into Capcom Cup. And in addition to this amazing opportunity with the World Warrior program, everybody has been partnering up, at least specifically with the US West, with Capcom, and to co-host all of these Wednesday Night Fights. We do have Canada as well going up a little bit after us. So again, big shout out to everybody involved. If you guys want to sign up, start.gg/CPT2022-WW. What's that WW? It is the World Warrior. You guys do not want to miss this event. It's going to be absolutely huge. We do have everybody kind of plugging in the Matcherino as well to kind of give even more incentives for everybody to come together as a community, to give up, pretty much give a little bit more to the players as well, because this is an absolutely stacked bracket. These guys fight tooth and nail, and you're thinking to yourself, hey, this is another opportunity for me to try out, maybe get a spot into the Capcom Cup. Well, guess what? You actually have some of the biggest killers that are competing for that same exact spot. So this is like the most opportune time to get your practice in.
And speaking of opportune time, make sure you guys go check out Fresh Cups, partnered with Level Up Live. Now, we have some winners coming in from last week, and they're going to be giving away 3 free subscriptions to Level Up Live Twitch channels. So make sure to keep an eye out there. But Fresh Cup is a creator platform connecting creators and fans through gaming's best moments. They will be giving away, like I said, the 3 Level Up Live subscriptions, but you can also check them out yourself if you don't want to be waiting around. They are available on iOS and Android. You can also follow them on Twitter at FreshCut and Instagram on FreshCutGG.
I think this is where we kind of talk about the bracket a little bit, Flexus. Why don't we do that? I know you've been pretty much in the ring for Wednesday Night Fights majority of like 2021, 2022, so you're going to have to lead me into this real quick. Looking at the top 8 bracket, who do we have?
Absolutely. I will tell the tale that is time and time again of Chris CCH back at it in top 8. Now, a couple new faces, couple old, a couple in between. We've got him facing off against Dr. Danny Pham. There's a little bit of heat earlier on Twitter between him and I believe it was JB. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see if those end up facing off. But speaking of other heat, we've got Prototype facing off against Filipino Man. And then rounding out our loser side of things, we got Blarlight, who had to climb his way through losers, knocked out Samurai and Stupendous to have to face off against Nephew in loser's side. Then Flakito and JB gonna end things out for us, at least for the first session. Gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really excited. We don't get to see a lot of JB. He's been really on the grind with DNF, so good to see him back in some Street Fighter action.
No, without a doubt. And what's more important is the kind of there's a lot of storylines to be built looking at the players that have taken out whom, like who's taken out who, pretty much. Looking into it, one of the biggest focuses I have in terms of like the top 8, I want to see like what the loser side is like and what their journey is like, because by default they have to play so many more matches, right? Blarlight actually fell to John, which is a pretty significant deal. That matchup is kind of rough, right? Minot versus Abigail. But then also, as Jot progressed into the winner side, there was a team kill with Filipino Man. Right, those two are pretty much in the same buddy camp. Filipino Man actually had to take down Jot 2-0 and take his spot in the winner's side. After that, there's just been so many different kind of exchanges, but it's so crazy because all of these players are very well associated with each other. Whether they like it or not, they are still within the realm of the West Side, right? So they're very much so familiar with each other in so many different aspects, even outside of a CPT, right? Even prior to this year. All of these cats in the top 8 have had significant practice against each other in one shape or form, or one way or another, in pretty much every shape or form of the game of Street Fighter V.
Absolutely, and this could tell a tale too with Evo coming up next week. You know, it is a West Coast tournament. You know, who knows? It could tell the tale of what could potentially happen with that bracket. But we are in this bracket right here, right now. Chris CCH versus Dr. Danny Pham. Got the zombie, got the Luke. We're gonna have a lot of flexible muscles going around.
This is going to be pretty interesting to see, right? Dr. Danny Pham has definitely been a provider for the Zangief Army since game one, really. Since its inception into it, he fought off against Daigo and did those immaculate leads at that Red Bull event. But Chris CCH, again, making that transition to Luke is pretty so difficult right now. Dr. Danny Pham also, trying to sneak one in there a little bit extra. But no, sir, Chris CCH has something else in mind.
Actually gonna keep this corner pressure going. Sandblaster keeps it in the throw, closes out the first round. Very, very strong start for Chris CCH. This is a matchup Zangief struggles with too. You know, he has to have that forward approach with the Sandblaster in his face constantly. You're gonna get a little bit of sand in your eyes. You're gonna be struggling to walk.
Nobody ever expects that, honestly. It's really tough. And you can't even rub your eyes up because look what happens. Chris CCH immediately takes his space over again. That one low forward turn DX flash level just leads to significant damage, yes. But more importantly, the corner carry. Look at how much estate Chris gets to bully with. Again, the pocket stand is just doing so much. He's getting into the front of the bear.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's really learning that space too with the flex. He doesn't want to get caught too hard. Potentially, great punish here, but the big grab.
Trying to get a meaty off of that actually with the trigger activation. Chris very much so knowing about that. Opted to pretty much stay on the ground. The reset situation, plus frames, V-shift out of there. Doesn't want to be involved in any of the plus picks.
No, absolutely not here. A lot of games of pokes here. Backing up, and you can tell he's very, very cautious. He's holding on to a lot of that meter, and if there's a Chris special, he's definitely ending the round with the critical arc.
I don't think he's going to get anything off of that. No, sir. Chris CCH does have a single hit confirmed that he can do to get the round away, or actually this might be pretty interesting. Oh my god, that is actually disgusting. You know what the worst thing about having to face off against a grappler up close is that if you have a D skill 2 to avoid the biggest mechanic that they have, it's pretty much robbery. Like you're gonna give Luke a V skill 2 that has him avoid the throw like that. Zangief's a grappler, man. Like, what? You're gonna take off his legs. He can't walk towards. You're pretty much taking off his arms. He can't give you hugs anymore.
No, he's just gonna be rolling around on the floor. We've seen how that goes with the first match for Chris CCH. Now, just in case you guys aren't aware, it is first to best out of 5, so first to 3 all across the board. So, still got plenty of room to grow here for Dr. Danny Pham. You just can't. You gotta make sure you close this out.
One of the biggest things I like seeing is how Dr. Danny Pham traverses past phase 1 of the game. It's like, all right, well, I have to deal with so many projectiles, and if I get a little bit closer, my legs do get exposed. I have to worry about the normal. Knowing full well when to change up the strategy, depending on the spacing. Dr. Danny Pham, he's stuck in this corner right now with a huge deficit, but he does have trigger, right? It means Chris CCH can no longer throw out the Sandblaster 15 because he just hit and that's a great whiff punish actually. That's what he's go to.
Yeah, and a big SPD to fall. We're talking big damage. And with Luke, he has 1,000 health, but doesn't matter because he has V-shift in his pocket. It's a huge tool against a grappler here.
And again, back to the kind of system we talked about, the strategy we were talking about in place. Just utilizing the Sandblaster a little bit, and if Dr. Danny Pham gets within medium range, Chris CCH is going to be firing away. Look at this, just letting the projectile speak for itself. He tried to be a thief, and Steel turns away off of that whip, expecting Dr. Danny Pham to whip punish accordingly.
Yeah, did not quite work on his favors. He was caught red-handed, the hand in the cookie jar. Sorry, no dessert for you after dinner, but you do get a nice EXDP, or sorry, just DP to start.
And the anti-air is on deck. You absolutely have it. You can't give Dr. Danny Pham free estate.
No, absolutely. Now we're seeing this here too, though. He is very cautious about his spacing. A lot of back and forth, a lot of shimmy, because he really doesn't want to get caught by that flex. But hey, you can punish it. Go in with the throw.
Sorry, regular SPD. That is a reversal too against Chris CCH. That forward medium, forward heavy punch because put Luke at a very risky range, I should say. And again, back and forth from Chris CCH, kind of checking the movement, but still, he'll throw out a sandblaster every so often and see if Dr. Danny Pham will react. Again, that's another missed opportunity for a trigger punish.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you called it right. Now, big activation time for Chris CCH. Called him in the corner.
Yeah, he tried to go for a reset opportunity. Dr. Danny Pham he's playing the long con, I feel like, right? He could have gone into like maybe a little bit more damage off of the suction, but at the same time, it wasn't that big of an opportunity. So he wanted to kind of get that mix going. He's the mix master, honestly. He likes to play off of a lot of reads against most of his opponents, but Chris CCH playing as solid as a rock right now.
Not solid enough here. Rock with a big jump into the ball. Keep the pressure going. Time is whittling down too.
And I love this from Danny Pham, still letting on the gas. 3 seconds left. Dr. Danny Pham is going to make it out with a tie game. I love that. As soon as he got the life lead and the knockdown, super smart to apply immediately afterwards. I was a little scared. I was thinking maybe Chris CCH could possibly EX uppercut, EX rocket uppercut, and kind of steal something away from Danny Pham. But I feel like the sequence that Danny had utilized was relatively safe. He's like, I wouldn't be too worried about it. I think the timing that he probably would have made him very much survive.
Yeah, and we mentioned it a little bit earlier, that slow game plan there, just whittling it away. And some people do the highest health in the game. He's able to be able to pull that off. Working out his gear for high health and high damage with the chase down.
Oh my goodness, he's so cool. Just so cool. Look at the extension on that. He's more now. What's the situation? No, he just timed around but nothing other than stuff is there. This is not enough for this. Wait, it's Luke. What am I even saying? What am I even saying? There's trigger behind it.
Yeah, and even if there wasn't, he had all the meter in the world. He had a full stick of butter to cook with. I'm kind of curious what I'm smelling in the kitchen.
I feel like it would have been medium rare no matter what, because he was going to get tier 2 and counter that medium kick. Still, again, Pham is actually firing away with the low almost as well. That medium punch does a lot of work for most of Zengi's arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely. Here again, we've got the crush counter here. SPD, lots of damage to follow up. I love this pressure from Danny Pham. Get the knockdown and keep the momentum going. When hits the stump at the break on the throw.
Activation off of the Sandblaster as well. Trigger 1 is on deck for Chris CCH. Dr. Danny Pham is playing this really well. Okay, I definitely have the biggest commentator for sure, because I was going to say he's walking Chris CCH down the
Chris CCH down the road, but in the corner, he's not the right now. SPD to close out the round. It's getting neck and neck, round for round, match per match. Pretty curious where this is going to go. You'd think this would be a matchup that Zangief would struggle with, especially because the fireball game is so strong.
No, you're absolutely right. I think there's just a lot to be said with the way that Dr. Danny Pham is playing this matchup specifically. He's been on a tirade too within his journey in top 8, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Chris CCH right now, again, checking the low forwards, controlling the time. He's a lot more movement based right now. He's looking at a lot of normals instead of just kind of dealing with just like only sandals. Right? You can see him poking away, crouching medium punch. Dr. Danny Pham, he's pretty much on that. You see the V-skill usage now against the normals of Chris.
Yeah, I like that check there on the use of the flex, but EXSPD going to take a chunk of health here. Activation time too. Expecting maybe something for wake up, but it doesn't matter. You still have that on deck and handled.
Look at this. It's so scary. I've actually watched Dr. Danny Pham stream, and he has a little like overlay of what button he's hitting or what direction he is. Yeah. All of those are buffers, man. Every single bit of movement that Danny Pham has is a buffer, but he's not going to be able to buffer this out. No matter what. Look at the big amount of damage. Damn, that car is total.
Yeah, there's no buffing that one out. Wax on, wax off, and we're going to wax off right into the next match here. For CCH up in 2-1 right now. I'm curious because Danny Pham is going to have to change a little bit of his game plan. It seems like he's working. Some things work for him. You know, he's able to buffer, as you mentioned, but I really like his usage of flags, you know, with his V skill. But he's been punished quite a few times with the throw now, so I want to see him maybe change it up a little bit.
I love that. Yeah, you just talked about that change. Standing light kick as the bufferable normal into the lariat has been a great tool for Zangief for a long time now. Pham being able to take advantage of that now in this season, actually. I feel like it wasn't as consistent. I don't even know. It's not even like this instant thing. It has definitely been more consistent over the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And the throw here for Chris CCH. Again, really conscious of that spacing. Does not want to be in range to get SVD, or just SVD in general. It doesn't matter. The punish on the activation keeps him in the corner.
I can't even tell if that's a plus, to be honest with you. That throw, the forward throw into roundhouse, that's to be specifically timed for it to be possible. I don't even think Danny Pham wants to even like risk it, even if it's like negative. Oh boy. Ooh. Damn, you saw it again. There was an attempt. Dr. Danny Pham had actually tried to go for a throw. You can see the animation. But Luke, Chris CCH actually went for the V skill too to punish that. That's messed up, man.
Yeah, we out here fighting for a life.
That's so messed up.
Planting trees in the meantime. Chris CCH though, gotta be careful. You don't want to give up too much space and end up in the corner, especially against Zangief. The moment he gets a knockdown, it's game over for you. You're not left with a ton of options unless you want to use your wake up.
Yeah, that's been pretty much the meta when it comes to playing against someone like Zangief. Or anybody who has solid mix-ups on wake up. That is such a brave thing to do for CCH. You tried to dash in! Watch out for the grab. He's well within range for SVD. Chris CCH is still making so much effort with the regular sand blasters. Oh boy, not enough. Not enough sand in the pocket. You're in the training room. You're not a beach. This isn't constantly escape. I mean, you gotta figure out where to get that sand. The rest of it's all gone.
His pockets ain't that deep, unfortunately. Otherwise, he would still be out here fighting.
Yeah, he's no longer on military budget.
No.
I feel like, yeah, the dog tags are just the show now.
Yeah. It's just nice and handy here. But Dr. Danny Pham, speaking of handy, nice little pokes with the light punch here. The flex again, getting punished with the throw. Keeps him in the corner.
That's just a lot to be said from Chris CCH, knowing full well exactly what Dr. Danny Pham has in mind. He's actually got the prescription way early. Now he's looking for a second opinion. This doctor does not have the answers.
Not at all. Unfortunately, the diagnosis is unknown coming into this. And Chris CCH is still very cautious. Nice light poke with a medium kick here. Man, I'm nervous because Danny Pham doesn't have a lot of life left, but he has plenty of meter to spend.
Yeah, but even so, right, if you think about that, say he lands a critical art, then what, right? It's going to take a chunk of Chris CCH's life, but there's just so much of a deficit. You need at least like 2 sequences and a half to make it happen. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying it's a very tough hill to climb. Here's sequence number 1. Here's sequence number 1 and a half. Oh! It's getting closer and closer. The stun actually might be a factor here. Oh my God, the Hezi. The Hezi and Chris still pulled the trigger in front of him.
Oh my God. I mean, you were calling it there for a second, but again, commentators first going to get the best of him. Dr. Danny Pham, I'm not quite calling dead yet. There might still be a pulse as he falls down into loser's side of things. Chris CCH gonna take it and find his way into winners finals.
I love the stinger that you use for your transitions, by the way. It gets me every single time. Like, I'm trying to focus and like talk about the matches with flexes, and then you just see a big old head just like pop up in front of your screen. It's great. But yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, Danny Pham, very much so a competent player, very intelligent player in the world of Street Fighter, right? He has phenomenal reads. And I think there's a lot to be said about his instinct and reads against certain players, even with, not as much adequate practice in person, or at least, like being able to get a set against somebody. I think he digests a lot of people's material very well. Like, he'll watch a stream and fully understand. He's like, all right, I know how to formulate this game plan against somebody. But there's just also something to be said about Chris CCH, right? He is the one that took it down 3-1. Him being able to transition between like throwing the fireball game or checking a little bit closer with some of the mediums. That is not easy to do, to kind of switch on and off and also have the proper discipline on defense. Let's say specifically on wake up of when to utilize the rocket uppercut. He got a little antsy when he tried to steal back after a whip sweep and go right in there. We saw that instance. But other than that, he played solid as a rock, to be honest with you. Chris CCH again moving on in the winner's side.
Yeah, absolutely. But as we switch things up, we're going to switch things up to move on to our next match here. Prototype versus Filipino Man. 2 different characters, 2 different players, but still a lot of fun. We got Prototype rocking the Alex pretty often, and Filipino Man always bringing out the Rose. I was going to say, you had a nice little get together there with Chris CCH too. So it's going to be interesting to see if those 2 face it off in winners finals, or if Prototype's going to ring true.
Did you see the bracket, by the way, of who Prototype took down on the way over? Just to let you know, you saw it, right? So Prototype had taken down one of Filipino Man's closest confidants in the training camp, right? Prototype took down Flakito 2-0. On the way over, Prototype happened to take down Samurai as well, 2-0. So Filipino Man actually fell short against Samurai in the last CPT exchange. There's going to be a lot of pressure, a lot of mixed emotions coming in from Filipino Man, right? You took down my training partner, then you took down the guy who took the seat from Capcom Cup away from me. It's going to be pretty cool to see, because I rarely get to see this exchange. Filipino Man Rose versus Prototype Alex. This is going to be one of the books for sure.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out, especially from a character perspective. Alex, you know, typical grappler, has some interesting mobility options, but one of the biggest throw rates in the game. But
really?
Yeah, he's got the biggest one out of all characters. He's got a whole 1 square, which is insane, because anybody else that's close is only like 0.9 or 0.85, so.
That's actually kind of nuts. On top of having pretty decently sized normals, right? You want to talk about boxes. That crouching medium punch and standing medium kick are the most obnoxious normals. Those take up at least like a block and a half. We're talking about blocks, Alex. We ain't talking about defense. We're talking about normal.
Absolutely, but we've got some good defense here for Filipino Man, but not enough to get into corner activation time for Prototype to break a bit control, but keep the pressure going.
This is the best part about Filipino Man, being able to utilize the solar illusion the way that it does. The mix-up does get blocked. Not enough training time for Filipino Man to make it as ambiguous as he thought. Prototype, and maybe also had a little bit of Rose practice prior. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, again, both West Coast players, right? So they're going to be able to face off with each other, you know, whether that's in the bracket or in person.
Oh, no! The tucking! You're talking about them blocks, Alexis. You know, I'm starting to believe it. Flexus is on to something here. She's like, you know, that throw range is pretty nasty.
Oh, yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's kind of nuts.
I'll complain day in and day out about what we're facing off against it, especially not as Chun-Li, and especially not the Filipino Man with the Rose, a big crush counter. Puts him in the corner.
And just look at the patience here from Filipino Man, opting not to go into the trigger. That was also max distance sweep, so I don't think there would be anything that Alex could have done to boom. Okay, chases down at least the airborne escape option from Prototype. But Filipino Man, that's not too bad if you're Prototype actually.
Yeah, not the worst case in the world. Again, Alex has some decent mobility, so he's able to kind of close gaps pretty quickly, especially if you're going in with a stomp here. But Filipino Man finding his place back into the corner. Prototype has a really great opportunity to maintain this pressure.
Oh, and look at, you were talking about that mobility. Prototype is always up there. Scarf, so you're looking at the juggle as well. You might be at least a throw, a back throw away. No, there's a lot of health on this big boy.
Oh, yeah. Big. Yep, big. Oh, the throw! Gonna close, or no, gonna round around. Oh, man.
That's not bad at all for Filipino Man. You'll absolutely take that. Considering how it played out for the entirety of that round, Filipino Man spent majority of that round in the corner at a deficit. So that big comeback factor came in full clutch. All off of an EX up, or EX air grab, by the way.
Yeah, and back into the corner we go with the big crush counter. One hit could do it for stun here. Delayed wake up, but it doesn't matter.
Dear God. Dear God, hyper bomb. That was actually so much stun. I wasn't even looking at the damage. I was looking at the stun gauge. As soon as I saw EX flash, I heard Simon and Garfunkel. I was singing, you know, Hello Darkness, My Old Friend. There's going to be a lot of stun on the board. That was actually kind of nuts.
Yeah, and with Rose too, she doesn't have a lot of health, so she's not able to afford to take a lot of hits on that as well. And especially against Alex, you know, pretty good damage, good amount of health too. Rose is really at a deficit here, so she's going to work a lot harder. No punish on the soul spiral. That was scary.
Yeah, from that distance, it's a little bit tougher, right, to get a consistent punish off of it. Roundhouse does connect as well. What I do enjoy about this matchup specifically is that both characters do have some pretty sizable normals. The only thing that Rose may have a slight advantage of is being able to harass with some of the projectiles as well. We've seen some of those strings coming from Filipino Man multiple times. Just a little bit of chip damage against Prototype, and then spacing out the Soul Spiral as well. I'm telling you, man, Rose does have the normals. Look at that. V-shift out of there. No, sir. Wait a minute. The crush counter. Trying to get a frame trap. No crush counter for Prototype. Filipino Man, he's holding East.
Yeah, and he is taking himself back in the corner, but it doesn't matter because he finds his opportunity.
Round 2.
We're going to close it out, sending us into the next round here. I love this confident chase down from Prototype. Look at constantly coming back into this corner space.
See that was so nice.
I like the charge up too when he's just like stretching out his shoulder with the V skill.
Yeah, he's trying to make sure his trapezius muscles are relaxed for the next throw. Any of the power bombs.
Absolutely, definitely needed that too to find his way out of the corner here. Uses the V reverse, and that's gonna have a big pushback with the EX comp.
Final round.
And a lot of the times, Prototype has been hiding his charge very well. I think that's one of the biggest things when it comes to like playing any sort of charge characters. You have to understand like how to mask your charges so that you can fool your opponent into doing something unsafe, right? Filipino Man had gone for a couple of fireballs and some. I think he was trying to go for like a tarot card too, but the stomps have been pretty much on point with those punishes. And majority of the time, I should say, since they're cheap.
No, you're absolutely right. And especially playing at this level here where it's not just about frame rate anymore, it's about mind games. And taking her mind back into the corner, activation time, the damage to follow.
Oh, that's so scary. Jeez, that throw actually could have killed Filipino Man because of the stun racking up. Range after that. We were talking about it. You have to quick rise. Absolutely. Again, that throw and that new buff that Rose got, you cannot play down and play dead anymore. She is able to juggle, so you're forced to hold the hits.
Absolutely. Plenty of damage to follow here. Spends the meter. Trying to go in with the overhead assault. Oh, the cross-up! What a smart play. We haven't seen that yet from Filipino Man, and especially keeping this pressure in the corner on Prototype. Prototype kept hitting down back, but gotta hit a little bit of forward too.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, right? We haven't seen Filipino Man utilize that option of going for the cross-up because majority of the time at this level, you're not expecting a player to put themselves in the corner. But if you look at the exchanges they had specifically in that scenario prior, Filipino Man had thrown out a lot of air fireballs, a lot of soul sparks in the EX version, like instant air versions as well to check Prototype. So going for that option of like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna take a big risk here and try to get him with the cross-up. That's actually pretty brave. I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. Worked out for him to be able to tie things up 1-to-1, sweep for sweep. Nice challenge there. Utilizes some of that great Alex range.
Roundhouse is so good. It's so good. It's highly, but it's so good.
It's kind of like eating, food that's really bad for you. It's so tasty, but you know how bad it is.
I don't want a man. No, please. Let's talk about the blocks instead. Quick rise. Oh, word?
No quick rise here.
Ooh, he didn't quick rise the first time. No. Oh, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. He has a shawl, enough damage off of the critical art. Filipino Man going for the full chips, all the dip. Let's see if he regrets that though going into the next round because, oh, actually, that's not going to be too bad. Prototype only has 1 bar of an advantage down below.
Yeah, definitely not a huge deficit here. And I think that really worked out. It was a smart play on his part. Spend the meter when you got the cash. Might as well cash out. Right. Nice finish here. Oh, catches him again. I love these challenges now. Makes the air approach that much more difficult. Has the stun. Good setup.
Look at the damage racking up. Finishing it off with the setup for the soul. Oh my god, you can't V-shift that. That is V-shift proof. Filipino Man's got the proof in the pudding. I'm telling you, he has worked that scenario out. You are not allowed to get out of that trap. He sets it up specifically for multiple mixes, right? You can do a walk up low, you can do a throw, and then you can do instant overhead, or even like I think any sort of like cross-up jump too. So that was actually really, really well layered.
Round 1.
No, it really, really worked out in his favor here. And gonna have the advantage over Prototype now. I mean, you're on winner's side of things, right? So you have a little bit of that safety net, but no safety net if you're Alex. You're gonna have to eat that soul spiral.
Don't want to be a trapeze artist without that safety net. We talked about this. Again, Prototype just trying to cover himself now with a couple of the normals. The stomps actually a little bit too far out to catch Filipino Man. Setting up the trap. Oof. Those frames checking the movement. That could have been, I think it could have been a little forward trigger, but I don't think he wanted to spend it. No headbutt this time.
No, really want to hold on to the resource just as a get out of the jail free card here. But stuck in the corner. Goes in with the follow-up.
Bomb. Does it again! Tucks him in. Power bomb this time. Watch out for the elbow.
Activation time here. Oh. He met him in the skies and he brought him back down to earth. Filipino Man put another round on the board, setting himself up nicely to face off against Christy CH.
You're not wrong here. Taking a look at the meter down below, right? Setting himself up for success, at least for a big damage or a big opening, right? And utilize maybe some sort of hit. Damn, that was a nice whip punish. Are you kidding me? How does the Scarf have a hurt box? Like, I mean this rhetorically. Prototype utilized standing heavy punch against that whip moment. That was disgusting.
Absolutely. Talk about disgusting though with the EX spiral for the reversal here. Activation time with the V reversal. Gonna negate that. Does not want the pressure.
Well, yeah. Okay, this is gonna be great. There's gonna be so much harassment coming in for Filipino Man from the projectiles. You see Prototype though charging down back. You might see a stop to stop something. Maybe it'd be a soul orb.
Did you see that he missed it the first time, but then he picked it back up like the 3-second rule of food on the floor, able to pull it through the chase down though. That's a V trigger.
Yeah, I think a single hit confirm will either kill, if not, he'll connect it into the DDT. Oh my god! You're actually disgusting. Yo, Filipino Man, that was actually sick.
Rose.
There was an expletive that I might have, I almost slipped. That was actually the sickest conversion I had ever seen. Still being able to push that slide into the trap, that was so sick. That was actually so sick.
Yeah, really, really nasty, really well done. It's funny, this just like got out of his chair, was like ready to commentate, put on a show for his neighbors too. But pulling it through Philippine, they
can hear everything. They can 100% hear everything. They'll be fine. They're tuning in right now to Wednesday Night Fights. It's totally fine. I'm gonna get kicked out.
Yeah, it's a live show for a live action audience. But speaking of live action, we have got action coming up with Blarlight versus Nephew. Filipino Man could be moving on to winners finals, but now we're on the loser side of things, and we have got the pressure going. I mentioned before, Blarlight had to claw his way through. Got knocked out, I believe, in the first and second match in the bracket. Down into loser side, had to pull through, had to face off too against Samurai and Stupendous, both extremely strong competitors, multiple top 8s for Wednesday Night Fights and other tournaments as well. So really, really big deal here to see Blarlight, and especially with Abigail, not known as the strongest character in the roster, but definitely strong up there. So I'm really excited to see how this matchup plays out, especially against Nephew. Got a G, got a culminate.
Yeah, not the strongest anymore. But man, I do miss the reign of terror of Abigail players. I like to see the world burn, right? I love seeing how people kind of utilize this character and pretty much take advantage of what he's gotten in the tool shed. But as it stands right now, Blarlight is still an Abigail main at heart and has been proving himself to be one of the most dominant Abigail players in the scene. However, he has to go up against one of the most dominant players ever in the United States, in North America, and that's Nephew. So we're going to see how that plays out, right? Then, of course, immediately after that, it is Flakito versus JB, one you do not want to miss, because, again, this is the loser side that we're going into right now. Blarlight versus Nephew. As Flexus had mentioned earlier, Nephew does have a G, does have a Luke, does have a Colleen. Specifically, I'd imagine against Abigail, I would personally want to use Luke. Or actually, G or Luke would probably be the two instead of Colleen. I think G might be the right bet here. So I think you might be onto something. Who do you think he's going to be using against Blarlight?
I think it's going to be difficult, right? Because you have to take into account the fact that Abigail has a lot of health. So you really want to high damage character so you don't have to work that hard. I mean, Luke does like fairly well. I would say he's one of the top characters in the roster going in right now. But yeah, I would agree. I think G, a great range, could potentially outpoke a little bit of Abigail, has a lot of help behind him too. So that's going to really give him a bit of a bump facing off. Colleen, she's got some good mobility, but again, against a big character like Abigail, you're really restricted when it comes to poking. So I think G might be the pick here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if it was G, because I do like the fireball game that it presents. I do like the normals you can utilize, like whiff punish. His anti-airs are still pretty solid, but it is going to be the Colleen. Okay, so this is what I want to know. Like, what is it about Blarlight that gives Nephew this kind of confidence? Because we kind of talked about the matchups on paper, right? Character to character. Now we're talking about player to player. Nephew immediately going into a matchup that's like, sure, this is obviously Nephew's main, but there's something to be said about the confidence that he's about to show off against Blarlight, utilizing this game.
Absolutely. And I mentioned this a little bit before, when we're playing at this level, at this skill, right? It's not just about the frames, it's not just about what's on paper, but it's also about the mind game that you pose against your opponent here. And looking a little bit rough here for Blarlight, stuck in the corner and finds his way out.
Yeah, pretty brave. Also, he was trying to find a way from a gap to get in between the icicles too. He's calling out the big old tire. Oh, damn. A little bit of a speed bump. Plus frames after that, and now it's going to be all trying to
yeah, you're going to have to be careful, though. You don't want to use the tire too liberally, because you're going to get punished like you did saw there with the activation, the big throw here. Oh,
that's not bad. Oh, no, he jumped out of the second one. Okay, this is going to be huge. So, it's going to be a good amount of damage, but you're also going to get
absolutely, yeah, that's dash in there and the big grab and close out the round. This is what I was talking about. With Colleen, you don't have a lot of health, so you gotta be really careful, especially against a high damage character like Abigail. You can't afford to take a ton of risks if you can't.
I think she's about like average. I think so. Like I think Colleen does have like about average health.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot to be said about Abigail in terms of like the damage output, right? It's just he's gonna be doing that to everybody, no matter what. He's got no discrimination towards the amount of damage he wants to do to somebody.
No, I mean anybody in the roster, but yeah, you're correct. Colleen with 1,000 health here, but Abigail's still gonna have a little bit of that buffer, bigger throw range, a little bit more damage, but definitely more health as well to account for it. Tries to really pull you with his weight out of the corner, but doesn't get the hard break.
Yeah, I was expecting maybe like another break coming in from Blarlight. He was going to hold it down, but Nephew actually 2 steps ahead. Had he gotten counter hit, it would have been a big deal. Way so in the benefit of Blarlight, but that was a risk. I think that was a risk Nephew was willing to take. He knew the timing of it all afterwards. There's a big old tire following afterwards. Man, I love how he plays with the tire. Blarlight is really utilizing it well.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's a lot of fun here. And again, I mentioned this a little bit, but it's like a get out of joke free card, right? You get hit, you still got the tire to worry about on the screen, and you still got to worry about the grab. Doesn't matter if you got the stun, because you're going to get put to the ground.
Abigail wins.
Blarlight is a nut, and I love it. One of the hidden gems of the San Fernando Valley. I'm telling you, man, Blarlight has been low-key one of the strongest players in this San Fernando Valley. I just feel like he needs a little bit more of the big stage experience, right? I think he's more than capable of becoming like one of the heaviest hitters in the scene. He's already gotten that opportunity. But again, there are some instances where he has like a shortened run where he'll run into a couple of bad matches, but at the same time, it's like, man, look what he can do against some of the best of the best.
Oh, absolutely. And especially as a character loyalist, too. I have a lot of respect for him, a lot of appreciation. Loyalist with Chun-Li here. You have to face off against the bad matchups. And in this game, he's definitely finding some successes, but that might be part of why he had such a difficult run coming into this, though. But talk about difficult things. You're going to have to hold these blocks and get hit.
Although he's sitting at a slight life lead, there is a little bit of gray life as well. He's going to be hanging out until that trigger dissipates, and that's going to be just fine. Hey, like, even though it's easy up for Nephew, I think Blarlight's in a very comfortable position, right? He does have the trigger as well. No jump out this time with enough air grab. Nephew actually catching a button from the side of Blarlight.
Yeah.
We're going to see a rock in there. Oh my God.
Gotta watch your toes. Gonna get hit with the low. That's closing out the round here. Now, Blarlight is going to sit here a little bit of an advantage, 2 bars a meter to play with. Who's there? Worked out in his favor. Calling out the tire. Oh, I like the idea of using the throw for that projectile invincibility as well. Totally negates the tire, so able to pull through. Sorry, but that thing's gonna keep rolling.
Yeah. Anybody else down the line that needs a flat? I mean, here's a free tire. Don't even worry about it. Maybe 3 more as a discount. There's 1 more. All right. There's at least 2. Okay.
We almost have enough here for a car.
You know, almost.
There it is. There it is.
Not bad. Our counter is there as well. The tire is going to be too much of a threat.
What? That certainly is.
Oh, you are a madman. You're gonna just Abigail flip in front of Nephew on his wake up. That is nuts. I love it. Hey, if it works, it works, man. It's like doing Ume Shoryu's on their wake up, right? You do a slight delay and try to catch like a late tech. That happens a lot, man.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing but nuts and bolts out here. And air combat. The pressure and the punishes to follow. Coming out on the tire. All right, we've got 4 for a car now.
Oh, we're gonna get another special soon. I feel like we're gonna get a spare tire, probably. Push it further back and get it set up. Okay, you can see Nephew kind of like moving forward a little bit as Blarlight tries to create some space because he doesn't want to get a free tire in.
No, absolutely not. But you still want to be in range to be able to punish, right? So it is a game of what's the best distance for me where I can punish when he calls out the tire, but I can also still stay in range. Activation time here, but the V reversal didn't negate that.
Oh, so Blarlight actually just tried to counterpoke the clutch medium punch. Had he been a little bit faster, he would have been able to catch Nephew dashing forward.
On the throw. I like this confidence. Come right in. No V-shift for you.
I like this right now. Are we gonna get a neutral jump? No, it's gonna dash up. And the bait against Blarlight. That was so deceptive. What throws me off a bit against like some of the big size characters is some of like the animations kind of clipping, right? I feel like Nephew again dashed up and then did a stand short. Not only was a frame kill, but what's really important about that specifically is that it creates enough space so that you don't have to shimmy as far away to get any sort of punish. That stand short should be the big signifier. It's like, all right, he's looking for a throw bait. If he does try to throw me, I think he has to be a little bit closer than that. He has to do like a micro step forward to get the throw because it creates so much space, right? So having that in mind, Nephew's like, all right, well, this is my signal that I'm going to go for a throw bait. Let's see if you have what it takes to kind of not press that button and see what you have in mind to at least get out of this corner. So that was really well played.
Yeah, absolutely. But keeping the pressure going, we've seen this story before. Having a hard time dealing with this corner damage. Throw breaks up the throw, but still no forward momentum. A little bit struggling a little bit of suffocation.
Ooh. I was waiting for that. I think the whole purpose of that was to get the anti-air, create himself some space out of the corner, and just kind of like run on through, just to kind of get himself back into the middle of the stage. And now Blarlight in full control. Abigail, big old punches, big old tires. There's the spare tire. Off of that medium, but still, Nephew finds a way out again from the ice. Blarlight has to hold all of this. He's not equipped for the snow. He has the chains on himself and not on his tires.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to see if he can still know how to drive through it. Unfortunately, not. He is slipping and sliding and gonna have to take the throw back into the next round here. It is really interesting because you're playing this game of space right at the start, right? And I like kind of the patience Blarlight has and being aware of how far. No, you're good.
Anti-air with the tire. Anti-air with the tire. Are you kidding?
We crush counter here and finds his way out of the corner, going in with the chase down, but we have hopes for days to counter that. Forward approach if you're neck and calling out the tire, but the punish! The tire is my favorite thing.
Final round.
Blarlight is one of my favorite Abigail players, like, of all time. Of all time.
The tire really should be like a guest character, you know? You've got Colleen, you've got Abigail, and then you can pick the tire.
Tire assist? Oh, that's cheating.
Oh, yeah.
That's so cheating. Cost no meter. Oh my god, this costs plenty of meter though. though. Look at this. What's big about this? You're getting a lot of the damage, a significant amount of damage, near 50%. But look at this. Dash up, boom. Oh, that could have been a trade combo.
Yeah, worked out still in his favor. And look at the health deficit here. Gonna put Nephew at a nice spot though, has plenty of meter behind him. He's still going to find his way out of the corner. I like that. Utilize your resources. You don't have to spend it all in one go. And the pressure to eat this with a throw.
Safe jump using the step on the way through so hard on anti-air, but now the crush counter in. Parabellum to follow up. Counter hit again after half. So many sequences. Nephew has had so many hits. And I gotta say, that entire big damage sequence came from 2 EX vanity steps uncontested from Blarlight. He tried to contest it, sure, but there just wasn't enough reaction time for him to get that button out. Whatever it was just too little too late. Nephew taking another game.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that Nephew doesn't allow the huge health deficit. You know, he was sitting at 50% health before the big activation there. Utilize that once he was out of the corner. That was his time to shine, and that was his time to be able to pull some of that confidence out and know that, hey, even though I've got less health here, that doesn't mean that I'm down and out yet. So coming back into character select here, I wonder, Blarlight might just be a quick breather though.
I'd imagine so. In my years of watching Blarlight play, I haven't really seen him flex other characters. I think it's primarily been Abigail since I met him.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe a Zangief, but really, I don't expect him to pick anything else. Maybe a switch to V-Trigger, but even then.
I'd imagine that would probably be the case. I think he'd probably want a way to utilize maybe like parries to stop the anti-airs, right? Yeah. I think one of the biggest things is that he was trying to find a normal to stop the momentum from Nephew, the forward movement, any sort of like air normal. So he wants to have that V skill available. I think that's a pretty very valid strategy, actually. As much as I loved the way he utilized V skill 2 with the tire, I think having the parry in mind you would get a lot more mileage out of it. No pun intended to the big truck man. But I think we get a lot of mileage.
No, I think you're absolutely right, especially when we're talking about the fact that he's been punished a few times now with the tire, so it's really not working out. And when you are down on the loser side of things, you also have that pressure that's on you. So not only are you having to deal with the fact that, okay, my original game plan isn't exactly working, but, you know, Nephew's up 2 right now. So if Nephew takes this, I'm out.
See how it plays out. It is actually still going to be V-Skill 2. There is a V-Trigger 1 as well, still from Blarlight. So see how this plays out. He was, in fact, just taking a breather again. He's breathing in a lot of icy air right now.
Yeah, keeping it cool and fresh out here. But, hey, a roll out of the corner definitely going to work too.
No stop on the anti. Again, no stop on the airborne approach. Nephew is taking full advantage of it. There hasn't been a lot of consistent answers. But man, I gotta say, Blarlight fighting out of the corner when it's his turn. Damn! Okay, wait a minute. He's hunting him down.
Absolutely, and so holding on to that V-Trigger activation here, but the back throw. Shuriken and the big guard break!
The big block and the big bet from Blarlight. No overhead here. Nephew actually can take it with the throw. Watch out for the snow, and it is the throw!
Yet you called it here. Big damage, big things, and a big win here for Nephew. This is going to put him at match point.
Absolutely it is. Again, it's been a very, very scary situation to be in. Blarlight is still, again, hotly contested as the best Abigail player in the U.S. And this would be another, I feel like, a huge win if you can get it over Nephew, especially at this deficit. But again, Nephew looking like it's just another day at the office for him.
Yeah, if your office is full of snow, you live in an igloo, maybe. With all the ice coming around and plenty. Oh, that shimmy! That was nasty!
Low key, I mean, like, she is the ice queen, but that was very fire. Look at the amount of damage as well. Nephew is going to get the knockdown as well. A slight delay on the crouching medium punch, trying to catch a delayed normal.
Patient here, Blarlight finds his time to activate and does the follow-up. Not a whole lot out of it.
That's so scary. It's so scary. Even if Nephew has such a huge life lead, Blarlight just needs one opener. This is number 1. And here's the big old tires. Oh! Hey, not bad. Not bad.
We'll take that. We'll take that. Oh, man. coming in with the follow-up here. Nephew just looking for his opportunity. Gotta be careful.
Oh my god. Dash just going uncontested, baby nervous.
Oh my god. Oh no! Unfortunate! Poor Blarlight got hit with the icicle. And that closes out his run for tonight. But still, what a match and what a game. And neck for neck, don't let the numbers fool you because Blarlight really did play excellent tonight.
Without a doubt. I've always been like a big fan of Blarlight. I don't really get to tell him that really, but I kind of talk about that every sort of stream. Every time I see him, like I wouldn't be like as surprised because I think he works very hard with his character. I think he does like a lot of homework to it too. But I feel like it's just him, right? He's been like writing it solo and just trying to figure it out and play some of the cats in the San Fernando Valley. Even online, he spends a lot of time on CFN. But I will say again, Nephew, also one of those cats, man. It's not one of those things where it's like this particular individual has done like this amount of hours. It's not that conversation anymore because you're going to get all those kind of players in a top 8 scenario, especially in the realm of the World Warrior program with WNF, right? Again, Nephew being hotly contested as one of the top dogs in the West Coast. If it's not him, it may be Chris CCH. If it's not him, it might be Samurai, right? So again, now you're in a pretty much pool full of killers throughout the whole thing. So that's a big highlight here. Again, Nephew moving on from the loser side, by the way, as we get ready for Flakito versus JB.
Yeah, if we're talking about two, we talked a little bit about how Blarlight is an Abigail loyalist, right? And if we're talking loyalists, we got JB coming up next versus Flakito. JB got the Rashid and Flakito. I've seen him dabbling around with some Rose. I'm excited to see how that matchup's going to play out. JB, not for the hiatus, but we haven't seen a ton of action from him, at least on the top 8s. But he's still a heavy hitter, definitely a killer out there, made plenty of racket and noise, but Flakito close to follow. So I'm excited to see those two pair up. And I'm kind of curious if we do see the Rose and Rashid matchup, how's that going to play out? Because that Rashid's always wilding out there.
I think there's a lot to be said when it comes to how the match plays out between those two individuals, right? I think one of the biggest things we talk about when it comes to Rashid is his force. I think that's like been addressed as like the biggest elephant in the room. Stand medium kick is also pretty important too. Speaking of medium kicks, yeah, Jury has one of the best medium kicks in the business, right? It's so far out there. It outpokes majority of the normals in the roster.
Round one.
And it's also cancelable in the beginning part of it, right? It is a 2-hitter. In the beginning part of it, you do get a cancel off of that, a big cancel window to get into any sort of sequence. But Flakito going with Jury is a big shocker to me personally.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit scary here because you've got to be able to lock down Rashid. He is very swirly. He has a lot of mobility and a lot of capability to move around the screen. And we see that too. Great anti-air. So the punish here from JB, but activation time for Flakito.
Forward throw now, JB exactly where he wants to keep his opponents. One of the biggest things we talk about when it comes to Rashid, he gets to put people into the corner so quickly and has a great job of keeping them locked down. But Flakito, that defense of his own, but still the critical. Yeah, we talked about that medium kick. Look how far over it is. How many blocks is that? That's got to be at least like a block and like a quarter of it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a chunk of change for sure. But coming in, I mean, they're both set up really, really well coming into this next round. Plenty of meter to follow, but JB gonna have a nice start, but the EXP move gonna take his opportunity out.
Look at this, just chasing him down. JB now getting closer and closer to the corner. Double dash does not get checked. At least one meter close to stun. That throw would have easily done it. JB still managed to get it. Not a lot of scaling involved. Look at the damage coming in from the heavy. EX Eagle Spike into the spinning mixer. One touch away.
Yeah, we're gonna throw here. Oh, Flakito. Oh no! Got hit with the counter. Super unfortunate here for Flakito. Just had an iron defense, but we see the cracks and we take advantage of them. And now the chase down with JB puts Flakito back in the corner. Flakito got the corner, but he's gotta find an opportunity to use it, and there's that opportunity.
Being able to sniff out a damage against JB, absolutely pivotal when it comes to getting himself out of the corner. Flakito now putting on the onset of offense. What a time to actually get a win on this. Actually, I think that was a little bit preemptive. That was a big counter standing very much from the side of JB. Man, that V skill, the V reversal does get thrown from the side of Flakito. Crouching heavy punch as the anti-air choice. I like it.
Oh, no punish here, but does find his way out of the corner. This is opportune here. You don't want to get stuck back in the corner. Hits with the low.
That was actually a tried and true classic. That was a Rashid sequence and a half. We, for all of those, all the years of playing against Rashids, I feel like those sequences will always be the kind of similar, no matter what season. I feel like, and that's just how it goes, man. That's just exactly how it goes. We've seen this time and time again, with especially through the realm of like how JB wants to play. There's going to be so many instances where JB is going to be getting a lot of these corner sequences. It's up to you to kind of figure out what you want to utilize to get yourself out and take that risk. I mean, we've seen Flakito kind of use EX uppercut a couple of times. There was an attempt for the V reversal as well, but it just wasn't really enough. I don't know if this time into the lobby is going to solicit any sort of character switch. What do you think, Flexus?
Maybe, like I mentioned before, I've seen him dabble a little bit with the rose. I don't know if maybe we'll see that here.
It is definitely going to be the rose. Yeah, this was his tried and true back in Street Fighter 4 when this character was announced. He was a little underwhelmed, but with the changes made from this season, he's like, yes, I found ways to annoy my opponents again. That has been his main goal throughout any iteration of Street Fighter. He's like, I want to find a way to annoy my opponents the most.
Yeah, JB definitely going to have a lot of patience coming into this matchup. Definitely see that punish there. I like the punish on the roll, but same story to be told. You got to be able to lock down Rashid, and JB is all over the screen, and I mean that in a good way.
In a very similar situation, the Shawl catching heavy punch from the side of Flakito. This is going to be so important, right? JB, I love that actually, coming in from Flakito. Hitting that side, so smart. Utilizing that trigger not for offense. Now using it for offense. That's using your brain. I love that. So that was so sick, right? Instead of opting for any sort of V reversal, the V trigger was mainly used as the escape tool. Then afterwards, since you had one more activation sequence left, went in for the mix-up, and that was all she wrote. Flakito got on the board with the round.
Yeah, absolutely worked out in his favor here, but JB gonna take his turn now. Mom said, I get the controller. Gonna break him the and keeping the pressure going. Oh, the JB classic with the cross in the corner. You're not seeing that. You are seeing a little bit of that spike action.
Man, that target combo just gets so much mileage now. Just how far it actually reaches out.
Yeah, so definitely strong here too.
Man, what if there's any time to be brave? That was the moment. JB again. You would think the B would be for block. Right? It was definitely just bust out instead. That was phenomenal.
Then what's the J stand for? That's what I gotta know.
It's just, man. He's gotta stand his ground and just do it. You know.
Just blow.
Yeah, just block, just bust out. You know.
Yeah, I don't want to try and find an acronym for Flakito's name, that's for sure. I also don't want to be stuck in the corner if I'm Flakito. Plenty of damage from JB, following up with the throw, but Flakito got plenty of meter. He's just finding an opportunity to use it.
Oh, and the stun is there. JB more than aware. Yes, sir. He didn't need to build any of that meter. He was just going in. I like that from JB. Again, it's a very similar sequence that we've seen from him in like majority of the games that he's played, right? I think there's a lot to be said with JB's offensive pressure. Rashid has been kind of normalized through and through each and every one of these seasons, but JB again has gotten better and better outside of just like utilizing the character's strengths. There's just something to be said about JB being able to read his opponents carefully and make the right adjustments on offense.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a big part of being able, when you're in a first to three, read your character, make those adjustments, because you have that extra round to be able to fix your game plan. But no game plan so far from JB. He's walked his way into the corner. Stun is going down, fortunately for him, but Flakito sitting on a plethora of health.
Yeah, pretty much near perfect. Again, the chip damage is coming in now, but JB in a very awkward situation, back to the corner again. Oh, that was still meaty. That was actually nice. Off of that air reset too.
Yeah, worked on his favor, but the V shift away from the pressure here. JB one hit away. Real careful, but not careful enough. Got kicked in the shins.
The shins! Man, he doesn't even have any sort of toe protection. That's actually the worst part. He's got the sandals on. Like, He's going straight for crunched toes.
Yeah, no, he's already got to worry about his feet getting sunburned out in the sun. Now he's got to worry about...
When was the last time you had a foot sunburn? Like, that sounds the worst, dude. That sounds so awful.
That's why you got to put sunscreen on your feet, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I was gonna wear shoes.
Yeah, there you go.
I was gonna wear shoes.
Learn from Rashid's mistakes, but right now, Flakito definitely is going to end with the anti-air. Great job, found his way with into activation, but gonna get punished for it.
Spinning mixer is a choice for JB. Again, trying to get his momentum back. Flakito. Oh, well, he has to hold all of this. That is the infamous JB, by the way. Instant air eagle spike.
Yeah, talk about toes. I don't think those boots have a lot of cushion between them. Or maybe those shoes, I should say.
He's not going to need it for at least one more throw. JB, man, ooh, that was actually so scary.
Yeah, talk about a throw. It's actually Flakito's coming in here, but keeping a bit of that spacing. Oh, the confidence, the run up into it.
JB has thread the needle more often than not in that particular round, at least like 2 or 3 times, sneaking in a dash against Flakito. I think that's like the biggest signifier right now for JB. He's like, all right, well, Flakito hasn't been able to check me. I'm gonna keep trying to dash in for offense.
Oh, absolutely. Threading the needle and learning how to sew these combos together. Oh, we've got a spiral arrow out of the corner. Again, run into it. I like this confidence. That's the stun. Setup gonna close it out. Run on the board for Flakito. Hanging on.
And I felt like I blinked as that match went on. Like I couldn't even recall like what the sequences were from the side of Flakito, but again, completely unfazed by how daunting it was to play against JB from those other 2 games, right? There's been so much back and forth. Well, to be fair, the jury was kind of neck and neck. Like, you know, you don't really get to see like the tail of the tape and how it went down, but at the same time, again, I think Flakito's transition to Rose, he's slowly starting to adapt, not really unfazed by JB. And we'll see if JB has something else in store.
No, you're absolutely correct here. It's going to be interesting as we come into this next match. JB's still up 1 on Flakito, but Flakito showing that extra point gave him that boost of confidence to be able to do the chase down. Great block on the crossbar.
Back up over to JB, looking for a sequence that is a very common route. Man! Flakito actually got the confirm on the stand short starter for the target combo. Are you kidding me? That was so sick. That was actually so sick. After that activation, there's nothing really to fear for JB, but he still got clipped. Like, he tried to go forward. I didn't think it was going to be a block.
Yeah, and that's something you have to consider when you're facing up against Roses. Rose only has some good control over the air there, so you have to be conscious about what your approach is.
What an interruption. You saw the actual windshield wiper kind of start up, but it just got blocked by something. I don't know what it was, but I think it was standing short from Flakito, if I'm not mistaken. It's kind of disgusting.
Yeah, definitely nasty. No windshield wiper to get off the gun, but you are back in the corner. Tries. Oh, blocked. Oh no.
This isn't gonna kill though. He's gonna get a sequence in the corner. A back throw will do it. Chip damage. Oh, but this, the conversion when ball is right for JB, it is no thing to him. He set it off the backboard. And that was actually the juggle that he really needed, to be honest with you. If he had dropped that, he might have lost.
Yeah, that would have been heartbreaking for him, but he gets to write in his diary today. Dear diary, I pulled it off. No heartbreak. I'm still in love.
I was gonna say basketball diaries. I'm about it. I like that movie. I'm about it.
And I'm all about this defense right here for Flakito. Definitely things out, but miss. It looks like maybe the throw. Gonna have to get a big punish off of it. Comes in for JB.
What? That was actually sick. So that character, she was still airborne off of that. That crouching, heavy punching counter hit, nothing but an airborne state. While I was explaining that sequence, it didn't even matter. But she actually sent out the goons. with the tornado.
Rashid wins.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about here. With this kind of matchup, and really any matchup against Rashid, if you don't have a good lockdown on him, he is hard to keep in place. He's going to be all over the screen, whether that's going to be an eagle spike, a mixer, or what have you in between. So really, really difficult spot here for Flakito, and unfortunately going to have to be down and out for the count. As JB moves on to live another day and to live to face against Dr. Danny Pham.
Mhm. And again, as we're getting closer and closer to our finalists, right? We are watching the top 8 here in the World Warrior with Wednesday night fights, specifically for US West. We do want to remind you all that we do have the Match Reno plugin, ! Match Reno in the chat. If you guys want to support all the players here, grinding it out week in, week out, really. To kind of give them a little extra too. You know what I mean? Like, it's to kind of show support for the pot bonuses that we've been going through. East Coast does it big as well. We got to show everybody in the West Coast, you know, we're just as powerful. Again, the Match Reno going up right now on a Wednesday for everybody, for all those that have been the top contributors. I could see you guys right now. Just the kids in there too. Again, I appreciate y'all. We're only getting started, right? Again, any contribution counts. You can use the free code as well. Very, very easy to get behind.
Absolutely. And it's even easier to enter these tournaments. You still have 4 more to enter up until the qualifying match, or qualifying tournament, I should say, in December for a chance to qualify for Capcom Cup. They are monthly. They're hosted here at Level Up Live. But mind you, if this isn't your region, there are other regions to follow. Tomorrow, actually, Incendium Gaming will be hosting the Canada East. And there is a plethora scattered across the world. It is Rambat style, so you get to earn the points, enter in multiple times throughout the next few months for a chance to play in top 8. And even bigger chance to qualify for the only Capcom Cup.
Very true. If you guys have seen anything super sick, anytime that Flexus and I might have yelled, well, it's a good time to get that clip going. Again, the community contest going in with Fresh Cut to get those community clips. Submit the best clip of the night for a chance to win a free sub to Level Up Live's channel. Of course, throughout the week, we're going to be handpicking some of these clips to get our 3 winners. For more information on that below, check it out actually down below in one of the panels for the Twitch page for Level Up. Again, we want to make sure you guys get the best moments for the community clips contest to make sure, like, you know, we kind of get a little bit more awareness of what's going on, because this is a stacked bracket, right? Christy CH versus Filipino Man up into the winners finals. Then you see Prototype versus Nephew. That's going to be sick. And then Danny Pham versus JB down below. Pull Sharks all the way through. And as Flexus had mentioned earlier, again, this is a point system. Each and every week, we're going to get these points kind of accumulated little by little. First place with a whopping 50. Even if you decide to join a little bit later, again, there's one each and every month, there's still a high potential of you getting some of these points and taking over the leaderboards. It is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody can do it as long as you're within the region. So it is region locked, but that is the only, that is really the only thing stopping you, is being region locked, right? So if you are on the West Coast, make sure you go check it out. But if you're not on the West Coast, again, we mentioned there are a lot of other regions that are under the umbrella for the World Warrior program. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But speaking of a lot of fun, Vicious, who do we have up next?
You know, I wish I knew. I'm totally kidding. We're going right into the top. I think if you guys had not seen it, right? Chrissy CH versus Filipino Man up on the winner's side. Very much so training partners and very, very good friends, right? They traveled to, or they have been traveling together for a couple of matches. Actually, no, it's going to be, boy, oh boy. It's going to be Nephew versus Prototype instead. Okay, I got ahead of myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I always try to go for the winner's side immediately afterwards, because I'm like, yo, let me see who gets into grand finals. But I'm a little old. It's past my bedtime already. It's 8 p.m. But again, Nephew versus Prototype. This is a matchup that has been played out not too long ago, actually. Not last week they faced off against each other.
Yeah, speaking of old Pride and True, we got Nephew versus Prototype. These two have played against each other quite a bit. And again, 2 heavy hitters within the scene, but 2 not exactly common characters. The blonde beauties of Alex and Colleen in the corner, but out once more.
It's so funny how, like, one of the biggest characteristics in Street Fighter, like one of the biggest things also on social media, they were kind of like, yo, a character, any of the blonde characters are pretty top tier. Then Alex comes out. I was like, yo, what? I was like, wait, what?
I'm just saying these costumes are top tier though. I'm loving all the Alex costumes. I think they're so funny. He's got the fireman. Ooh.
Nothing funny about the pain he delivers. I mean, like, this man can powerbomb anybody through a building.
That's how he saves you from the fire.
Yeah, he gets somebody and throws them into the building first.
I think I'll hesitate on calling 911 next time. Have Alex show up at your door, but Colleen knocking at the door here for Prototype, and the answer is a throw.
Back-to-back throws at that. Nephew again harassing away. What a time to stay with that standing light kick. Again, Prototype getting that solid from standing light kick. It was a counter kick, really. Standing light kick into Felix flash shot just gave him so much distance away from the ring. TDT.
Yeah, and this vicious Colleen here in the corner. This is not exactly a place you want to be against Alex. And for that reason alone, but
Word. I love it. Yeah, wake up, Critical Art. Now you have to play against Colleen and trigger 2. Genius. Prototype could actually get a chip sequence if he can safely get it, I should say. It's so tough. We talked about mobility with Colleen. What a free shift.
Oh my god, but that pulls through.
Do you know what's crazy? This man has 2 giant pillars for arms, yet he only needs 1 to EX flash chop twice.
I definitely wouldn't want to face off against him. I already said I don't want to call 911 for him to come and fix a fire in my house. I think I'd like to keep my distance overall. If Alex's arm falls in a woods, do you hear it?
Yes! If you're not around, you'll still hear it. Absolutely.
Oh man, but what we're hearing right now is a little bit of the back and forth approach between Nephew and Prototype. Approach, right? Colleen was pretty decent at the low range, but Prototype was ready, and I like using that timing, that spacing with the knockdown to charge with the B skill.
Oh, that was an excellent counter poke, actually. The crouching jab to tip the timing in Nephew on his frame trap was so well done. I like this. Again, this sequence could lead to a stun. Oh, and the biggest stun of that is actually Death EX Hyper Bomb.
Oh man, and that's so unfortunate too because you were sitting on the trigger if you were Nephew, so you didn't get a chance to bust out and be able to prove yourself through that match and kind of equal things out here. You're gonna have to take it into the next round.
Take it with you to the grave, man. Gotta spend that. I love that. Again, the counter poke in coming in from Nephew. All across of a stand short. Although now, what's going to be the meaty situation? Crouching medium punch it in. Prototype is stuck in this corner. He flash shot. And look at the amount of space it creates him out of the corner.
Yeah, that would have been scary though, because any closer, that could have been a potential punish situation here. But talk about punish on the Parabellum, goes into the throw, the activation. A lot of big damage here. We're seeing this story play out time and time again. Nephew got to find his way out of the corner. Activation time. They both jumped up at the same time.
So scary. Oh, the mix! The mix! Oh no, Hawaiian shaved ice, putting in a blend with a little bit of color in there as well.
Oh no, having a second time around!
Yeah, that's how the blender goes, man. Like, Nephew out here making some slushies for everybody.
What a generous guy.
Yeah. I don't want to know what flavors he's got. Anyways, Prototype, again, kind of measuring resistance with that crouching medium punch and still trying to get a whiff punish against Nephew. It's so tough. Again, we talk about some of the ranges that she has, that Colleen has specifically. She has back roundhouse to kind of check his opponents, but it is going to be highly punishable now, like in this version of the game. So we'll see if Prototype has a whiff punish on that.
Yeah, absolutely here. Prototype really being wary about keeping that distance, especially with the meter still on deck. Yep, there it is. You like the meter, got a nice jump in out of the corner too. This is ideal if you were Nephew. Oh!
I love it. I'm telling you, he's getting so much mileage out of that down shot. But again, it's not even that big a risk too. It is -2 on block.
Oh no! But talk about big risk. Tried to go in with the jump, but is gonna get punished on the other side of things here. Nephew taking the match for the game.
All tied up, one apiece. Again, Nephew making significant strides in terms of what Prototype has been doing to get himself out of the corner. He's like, all right, well, I know that Prototype has utilized some of the EX flash chops a little bit. I'm actually going to let him try to escape, and I'm going to punish him on the way out instead of trying to keep him contained in the corner. Sure, I'll apply my media a little bit, get a couple of sequences in, but once my turn is over, I am chilling. No pun intended. She's the Ice Queen. She's going to be backing up.
Absolutely. Talk about backing up here, backing away from the poke from Alex, but is eating it 3 times now. Really worked out.
Man, that back roundhouse just gets so many people. Look at that. You see Prototype attempting to get a whiff punish, or now he's trying to like preemptively poke you with the forward heavy punch with the lariat. This is so active.
No, you're absolutely right here. Talk about activating the trigger for the Nephew, but gets hit with the crush counter. Big pile driver here for the EX. And again. He shifts away from the pressure, gets thrown back into the corner here. And I like a little bit of that block stun actually pushes you back.
That was a little scary. Nephew actually tried to go for a parry. I don't really recall what he was trying to do. Like when those come out, I can't remember if it's like an overlapping input. But at the same time, he was one. Oh, word! Prototype trying to press a button after that. That was a crush counter.
No, I was punished for it too. Ooh, okay. That would have been scary, but it still worked out in his favor.
Round 2.
So that's what I was curious about. I wanted to see what that frame kill was with that stand short. If it was enough to push Colleen away for a throw bait. I was actually wrong. Yeah, so even with the stand short, you are frame killing, but you're still within range to get the mix-up of whether or not it's going to be a normal or if it's going to be a throw. So that adds even more layers there. I was actually, I misspoke earlier the last time I saw it. Nephew again cleaning things up with that side switch and the target combo for the whip.
Absolutely, an activation though. He takes his turn back. He says, now it's my turn, Mom. I make moves around here, but I also get traded on the jump in. I did not get the cross up!
Oh, Bob! How often has Prototype left his opponent shook on the ground to like not to not get scooped up like that? I feel like he's like one of the best ones to do it, to like keep him grounded for the command grabs.
Yeah, I mean the man watched for his burns and now he's planting trees out here. Those trees just happen to be named Pauline.
Damn, that's actually pretty good. I like that one a lot. It's like I've seen too much of the forest consumed by the flames of hatred. I gotta plant more. Gotta go above and beyond.
Right.
But we're gonna have to see if he can plant in the next game to take it over Nephew. But no, Forest can live in
prosperity.
Snow. Yeah.
Possibly. There's a lot of resources out there for that to happen. Again, he went from Fire Marshal to freaking Forest Ranger. That's actually or Park Ranger. That's pretty diverse.
Yeah, he's a man of multiple talents.
I'm not down there. That's great. Any man who could jump that high while building, like bringing a body with him, this guy needs to save lives.
Oh, absolutely. But he's gonna have to save his own if he wants to face off against Nephew. Finds his opportunity out of the corner of the throw, activation, and the chase down. Ooh, that was a risky jump if you're Nephew.
Man, that flash top counter poke is so potent too. Prototype again. That is like highly difficult to well punished, but he's willing to throw it out there. Nephew now with the sequence of his own. Let's get the ice school. Very smart from Prototype to just not even try to contest it, but he was one throw away. Oh, he knew it too. He definitely knew it as well. You know, he went for the bait just like everybody else in this room. I pressed throw.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Every time. I don't learn from my mistakes, but hopefully Prototype does coming into this round.
Yeah, it's tough. Just in that particular scenario, that is guess for game, right?
Yeah.
If he had taken the throw, there just wasn't enough life left for him to actually survive it. So it was very well thought out there from that.
No, you're absolutely right there. But talk about throws. I really like that option there. You introduce it time and time again because you make your opponent aware that, hey, you gotta attack this. And I haven't really seen that attack too much here from Nephew. You're gonna have to eat it for sure. You're gonna have to eat this damage coming in from the activation.
Oh, speaking of eating, man, listen. Nephew has an abundance of fierces for every one of his opponents. It's a full buffet, if you think about it.
It's a buffet of, what was that, Hawaiian ice?
Hawaiian shaved ice, yeah. And afterwards, he's going to be doing judo lessons because he's been throwing throwing Prototype like back and forth. Speaking of throws, the DDT! Down into the pavement, into the blocks.
Final round.
trying to cool him off, but things are heating up for Prototype as he comes into match point here. We're gonna have to see if he can stand in the kitchen, face the heat, or if Nephew is going to fall short.
And it's so interesting too, like Nephew just making this run with Colleen is something that I didn't really expect. I thought it was gonna be with Luke, because he had played off against Prototype Luke before, but again, here we go now. Nephew is stuck into this corner of the V-shift. Reclaim your space!
I like it. I like that confidence. I like that pressure. The activation gonna give Nephew just a little bit of breathing room here. Prototype gonna have to be a bit more conscious about his approach. Oh!
Checking the approach again. Nephew is at the life deficit now. Prototype fully understanding, fully aware of this. Actually, is trying to move back, but Nephew has clipped Prototype a couple of times over with that crouching medium kick, checking the movement away against Prototype, trying to counter poke with that sending heavy punch again, just fishing for normal from Prototype. Actually caught one.
Yeah, worked on it in his favor too, able to use the rest of that V-trigger, but talking about V-trigger, Prototype holding on, uses it for the V-shift. I like that answer, the double dash into the throw. Prototype closing it out, finds his opportunity, melts the ice into losers semifinals.
That's not global warming. That's Alex, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Prototype taking it 3-1 as Vi zooms across into our screens. I'm never gonna get tired of that. I'm really not. I'm loving it. But again, Prototype taking it down against Nephew. Now that I'm thinking about it, my results are a little hazy. I don't know what their encounter was like last week on the last time they fought. But as it stands right now, again, Prototype making big waves against Nephew. Again, one of the best in the West Coast. Now it's going to be moving on into Flakito versus, sorry, not Flakito, sorry, it's going to be JB going up against, I believe it should be Danny Pham, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct. JB versus Danny Pham. Now, a lot of fun, interesting things too is Danny Pham not only shows the flexing through Zangief, got the muscles account, but I know Danny Pham does spend a lot of his time as well in the gym talking about physical health, which is really cool. But bringing that in, you have a healthy body, you have a healthy mind. You got to make sure you keep it sharp when you're facing off and against an opponent like JB, who it's hard to be on top of that man. He is all over the place and in a good way.
Yeah, no, I mean that's one of the biggest attributes we have when it comes to identifying Rashid is that he does such a great job of getting the offense going and also being able to escape certain situations, right? I think there's a lot of mixes that he can do with off the wall shenanigans, right? There's been so many instances where we've seen, take Big Bird, for example, where we've seen him go off the wall while he's going in the corner and get like a mix up, or not even go against the wall at all and just go for a cross up, right? We've seen that so many times over. And JB, again, definitely want to do something like that as well. So we'll see. I don't think it's going to be as potent against someone like Zangief who has a lariat, but we'll see how it plays out. Again, this is going to be the name of the game between Dr. Danny Pham and JB, is who is going to get counterpoked where, specifically with the heavy punches. JB, again, utilizing, now starting to use medium kick, right? He's making sure that Dr. Danny Pham does not get used to the normals being thrown out.
No, absolutely. I do think Dr. Danny Pham is also going to have to speed up a little bit of his game plan. He can't quite take it at a slower pace. He's really got to be on top of it and be able to react quickly. No folks can go unpunished. You're Dr. Danny Pham, but he's definitely eating a lot of damage. And again, we talk a little bit about too that deficit in life, where she doesn't have all the life in the world. Not the worst, but not the best for sure.
Bird, that's how you feel today? How many times has Dr. Danny Pham punished an Ume Ashoryu-esque kind of movement against his opponents, right? Dr. Danny Pham actually had encountered that against Chrissy CH, where he actually tried to steal a turn after a sweep, and now JB doing the same thing, trying to get up in his face, but no sir. EXSP is going to be the name of the game. Another one! Don't talk him in!
I don't know. That's wild. It's wild out here. I mean, JB's still got to pick it up and bring it right back. Trying to keep up the lively, but just not enough as a V reversal going to keep that pressure off of Dr. Danny Pham a little bit here. But look at that meter too. You don't want to be caught too close because you could get taken into critical. There it is.
My God. Talk about critical. Oh, wait a minute. That's literally what you were leading up to, right? Dr. Danny Pham, again, when you ever watch him stream, he'll have an overlay of his controller. He is constantly buffering. Him and Brutus, right? These two are like maniacs with movement in a good way. Dr. Danny Pham easily just setting up for that punish with the forward heavy punch to get into critical. It's actually kind of nuts. The awareness that he has when it comes to the spacing game is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, and you would expect to think that, like, on paper, right? The Zangief would really struggle, especially because he's so slow moving. Like, yeah, he's got reach, but you know he might have a hard time. But Dr. Danny Pham definitely gonna paint it as a different story. Got the knockdown, finding his way slowly out of the corner, but oh, the punish, JB very aware with the shimmy. And that's the beautiful thing about Rashid.
Did you see that sequence? That was actually so smart. Did you see him tuck his knees in to purposely shift his hurt box away from the anti-air? That's so sick.
No, it's super smart and really cool. But what else is cool is this patience from Danny Pham. He's just watching JP back and forth, waiting for an opportunity.
You're not quite dead yet. This is going to be okay situation. That's going to be one light away. Running bear grab that's actually the smartest thing. So you know what's really cool about that sequence? Dr. Danny Pham, starting things off with a meaty jab. JB is not allowed to move from that sequence because if he walks backwards, he can get hit with the crouching button. Dr. Danny Pham definitely knew it and went for the running bear grab, knowing full well JB was going to be stuck.
No, and I love that too. And I love the patience from Dr. Danny Pham. He knew he had already dug a grave for JB and he was just waiting for the man to lay into it here. But big crush counter carries Dr. Danny Pham into the corner. A lot of meter to follow, but gonna have to take the SVD first.
That's so smart from Dr. Danny Pham again, getting himself out of the corner. That one SPV. Oh man! You have got to be kidding me. This man just stuffed that. Oh, speaking of stuffings, Vanna came early with that stocking stuff. Yeah. You actually did!
It's Thanksgiving in July. We got the turkey, we've got the stuffing, we got the cranberry sauce.
Man, he's skipping all the holidays. You kidding me? He went right to December. This man's cold-blooded, but he's already putting him into the Siberian snowfield. This man, Dr. Danny Pham, has no remorse. As soon as he has this meter, he's like, you know, I'm gonna launch this, right? Like, you can't stop me. I've got the codes for takeoff. You're not gonna stop me. I'm sending you into space.
It's the Zangief space program. What is it, the ZSP?
I like that. That should be a thing. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because he has a mecha outfit, right? Mecha Zangief, right? I'm already putting his name together. Mecha Zangief. Yeah, it makes sense. Is that going to be his new nickname? Is Zeef? Is that what we're doing?
I like it. I like it. It's quick on the tongue. And speaking of quick here, coming into a quick back to character select screen. I don't know JB for picking anything else. I don't know if maybe he might switch up a V skill or V trigger, but still going in. Maybe just a quick breather.
It is going to be, okay, so it is trigger 1 and V skill 1. I don't recall exactly. I mean, I think V trigger 2 has been like the trigger of choice for him majority of the time. Mm-hmm. But I think trigger 1 might be like an even bigger threat, at least in the corner. Oh boy, but what happens when you don't even get a chance? Like this guy just tucked in. What was that, a standing medium kick?
Oh no! That was unfortunate there, missing SVD. That's the unfortunate side, right? You landed, it's a big payoff, but you miss it. And, you know, it's a big payoff for your opponent here. Uses a V shift away from the poke. Not a terrible idea, but you still have some of that meter.
And now the trigger 1, again, just being the most intimidating thing that JB can possibly face off against.
Ooh. Oh, he jumped right into that.
Now what do? V shift out.
I guess when you're slowly walking yourself into the corner, finding his way out here. You use the Eagle Spike, a little bit of an opportunity, but what cost?
Yeah, I think using that V skill 1 after the tornado was the big benefactor here from JB. Just getting himself out of the corner was the ideal solution for him, right? He's like, all right, well, if I can get this sequence just getting out of the corner, my odds of winning are significantly higher. So again, using that tornado into V skill 1, that's going to be a lot for Danny Pham to kind of chase down against afterwards. So very well played from JB.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you have to worry about not only the hit from the tornado, but the secondary hit too. You can't rely on something like an armor, flex or something like that to beat that. So great blocks here from Danny Pham on the tornado this time around, though. There's that armor.
That's huge. That's actually huge. That was a counter hit too, off of the flex. Back-to-back SPs. Is that heavy? He gets Oki after that? That was heavy. That was a lot higher than I thought. I couldn't tell by the camera angle, but boom, you're actually getting hit. He doesn't need to spend it here. He doesn't need to spend it.
No. Gonna have to take a throw, but this puts him at critical arm range. JB's gotta be really careful with the forward approach.
Yeah, he had gotten that critical art a little bit after the area, but right now he's not really thinking about utilizing the full critical art. He just needs one SPD moment with JB, looking to rack up some damage. Big throw escape from Danny Pham, very important here. That could have been another sequence that led to stun, but JB, now he has to work for another opportunity, another opening. Can he get it though? Danny Pham is just sitting there.
This is so scary because he's locking him into the corner.
Smart.
The train.
Yep. Oh, he could have lariated again, I think.
Yeah.
Oh no! Okay, so I'm unsure of whether or not JB was trying to do the thing where he wants to get into the middle of the lariat and try to snipe it down with like a jump roundhouse. It was just off the mark a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately it didn't work out. And this puts Danny Pham at a great position. Plenty of meter to follow. And of course, again, Zangi, big damage. You get to use that at plethora. But first, you gotta find your way out of the corner here. Danny Pham struggling. Oh no!
Nice tip throw coming in from JB off to the side now. So important.
The shimmy.
Yeah, anytime I would say something like nice tick throw, right? JB sets him up for like possible frame traps in the future. So that's one thing to keep in mind, right? If he does light punch into like a throw, it's pretty important. It sets Danny Pham up for having to think about the different layers on offense that JB could present. And also it's like, oh, well, damn, I didn't expect him to go off the wall immediately after. Right? You're making that opponent, you're making your opponent overthink about that sequence more often than not, especially off of something so simple like a tick throw.
No, you're absolutely right here. You really have to consider those options. JB juggling like it's a circus out here, though, in the air. One hit could have been stunned, but Dr. Danny Pham finds his opportunity. Just not enough patience, though. Look like he's on the counter, but JB gonna have to eat some damage of his own.
Yeah, just out of range to miss that punch. Dr. Danny Pham again is stuck into this corner. We talked about the tick throws now. Setting up for frame trap. See exactly what we talked about. JB now utilizing that frame trap game. Standing medium punch to check Danny Pham as he moves closer and closer. JB on the board at least with this round. Looking to get at least 2-2 in terms of games against Dr. Danny Pham. Really well done from JB. That entire sequence was 100% the kind of Rashid sequence you could expect.
Yeah, and talk about really well done here. JB taking control this time around. Another 2 point months and giving him an extra confidence coming into this here. Because he is doing exceptionally well in maintaining this pressure in the corner.
Man, that crouching heavy punch, the windshield wiper is just so powerful. There's just so much space that gets occupied when you're Rashid. And that's going to be like the main tool against someone like Dr. Danny Pham, specifically against Zangief, right? You want to utilize your longest moments, but you can't whiff against someone like Danny because he will definitely punish. He's one of the whiff punishing school. But look at this relentless pressure coming in from JD down to the gap, but still the jumping, that's down forward throw actually.
Yeah.
JB off forward.
Going out the activation pulls him in, but the eagle spike goes up the side switch and closes that match out, tying things up 2 for 2. It was down to the wire. Danny Pham had it up on him, but JB pulling it back, and that's a beauty with the best out of 5.
Yeah, did you see that sequence? It was actually JD using that view reversal to get himself out of the rest of the trigger, right? He didn't want to sit there. I don't think in that sequence it would have been for Danny Pham. I might have, I was looking at it, but I don't exactly remember what had followed prior to that. But I think JB didn't want to just get the punishment, or at least get out of the corner with the view reversal.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And that's the beauty, too, when you're a character that has that high mobility, is you were able to kind of get in a sticky situation here. But sticking to it, Danny Pham.
Man. If it didn't kill JB, it 100% would have stunned.
Yeah. It would have been in his favor either way. Oh, talk about favor. Nice punish.
Yeah, I mean, sweep to sweep connection. It's a very, very standard kind of punish from majority of like the roster. When you see a sweep, you return a sweep. It's like take a penny, leave a penny.
No, absolutely right. We are exchanging change out here and exchanging damage. But the nice little call reminds him, hey, I can get out of here if I want to. It's definitely gonna do it.
Dash up Oki. What happens there? Important throw escape. That wasn't a very delayed one too, because it's still left in the range. You could kind of like wait to the last activation. Oh, shift break. I love that from Danny Pham.
That was so smart too, especially with the approach of the V-trigger activation. You didn't have a lot of options on wake up, so I like that. Utilize that on wake up because you get the little bit of a frame invincibility here, but
it's so scary. Don't whiff punish against Danny. Don't whiff on Danny. It's a new board game by Capcom. Here we go. JB again. He's playing a little bit slower, right? Most of the time we see him kind of like being the offensive beast that he is, but looking at it right now, crouching heavy punch the connector into the EX whirlwind shot.
Yeah, gotta be careful though. Active V-trigger activation and plenty of meter to follow for Danny, or not V-trigger activation, but V-trigger for Danny Pham here. He could take his turn back, and he is walking JB down.
Ooh, that's actually gonna be super tough. A decent amount of chip damage. 6 seconds on the clock. Danny Pham gets to the left now. JB actually thought it was gonna be enough, and Danny Pham still applying the meats with 3 seconds left. JB actually tried the EX Eagle Spike to stuff out the trigger activation against Danny Pham.
Yeah, I like the patience game too, though. Danny Pham kind of waited for that approach, looked at his opportunity, especially because he had a little bit of that life lead. Even with the activation, right? Let's say hypothetically JB had blocked it, he still would have had, Danny Pham would have still had a life lead. And as that time is going down, you're putting yourself in an ideal situation either way. So you can afford to block, you can afford to wait with the activation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was kind of tough. I think there was a lot of moments where JB again he did play that life lead, but it wasn't significant enough for him to like move on towards the corner and like play the timer off. I think he had a chance to kind of like stand his ground and keep Danny Pham stuck where he was at and kind of force the errors just a little bit longer, right? I think the moment to back off should be a little bit later in that match if you were to like watch that replay. But either way, big ups to JB. Playing as well as he usually does, still within the realm of top 8. He still gets a bunch of points as well. Same with the rest of the gang that's already been eliminated. It's still going to be now Danny Pham moving on to the loser side. I don't know if we actually do have the bracket. I would love to take a look to see where we're at as we are progressing little by little, right? I know we still have the winners finals cooked up and ready for us, but we'll get into that later, right? Chrissy CH versus Filipino Man is who you could expect. Flexus, it's been super wild thus far, but as you can see, again, it may not have been fooled out just yet, but Dr. Danny Pham did take it over JB. That leads us to Prototype and Danny Pham. What are your thoughts going into this bracket for the rest of our players here in our top 4?
I mean, it's going to be, either way, it's going to be a run back, whether it's Filipino Man or Chrissy CH, Prototype and Dr. Danny Pham. I mean, Chrissy CH put Danny Pham down into losers. Filipino Man put Prototype down into losers. So they got to duke it out for a chance to face off in the grand finals and for a chance to get those extra points.
Mm-hmm. And again, so many points pretty much across the board. Again, very much so looking forward to it, Flexus.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it too. And you guys have a lot more to look forward to after we take this short break. So stick around, plenty more matches. We'll see you back in a few.
back like we never left, really. I was thinking about how I wanted to bring it back, but it got me really excited for it because, again, this is going to be something that's going to be one you do not want to miss. With the winners side, especially, Vicious back at it again with Flexus here for the World Warrior program for Wednesday night fights and the Level Up series. Again, if you guys haven't done so already, we want to make sure you guys follow along because there's so much more to behold as the weeks and the months go on. Really, just to kind of reiterate, Flexus again, what can we do to get everybody involved with the World Warrior program?
Absolutely. If you are on the West Coast, now mind you, this is regional based. There are plenty of other regions you can enter, but if you're interested in Wednesday Night Fights Level Up Live for the West Coast, you can go to start.gg/CPT 2022-WW to go sign up for a chance to compete in these tournaments. Now, it is round band style, so you are earning points. You have a chance to place in top 8 for the finale in December and for a chance to qualify for Capcom Cup. So even if you don't make it out in today's tournament, you still have multiple chances throughout the season to be able to compete. So, and if this isn't in your region, no worries, because there are Canada East, Canada West, West Coast, East Coast, everywhere around
literally
the world.
Around the world.
Yeah, literally. And that's the beauty of it. Tomorrow, in fact, there is going to be Incendium hosting Canada East, which you guys can check out. And I believe East Coast will be coming up soon as well, among other tournaments. So make sure you guys tune into those. But make sure you're also tuning in to the Community Eclipse contest here for Fresh Cut. Now, Fresh Cut is a creator platform connecting creators and fans through gaming's best moments. Now, Level Up Live is presenting to you 3 winners, which will be announced throughout this week. You submit the best clip of the night for a chance to win a free sub to Level Up Live's channel.
And also, as we're going through it again, the Match Reno to contribute to the pot for the players in the top cut. We want to make sure that you guys follow along. Again, big shout out to those that have been contributing throughout the entirety of this tournament. You can see as we're scrolling down who have been the top contributors. Again, just using the coupon code, that's the easiest way to do it. Really, it's free, no pressure, and it's going to be going to a good cause, right? It goes to benefit the players in our community, even if it's not for this specific event. Again, Match Reno does it big when it comes to the FGC, and it's all because of you guys tuning in. So again, use that tag !Match Reno in the chat.
Absolutely. You can claim code. Oh, yeah, you can claim the codes, and you can also complete sponsorship quests on the right-hand side. If you want to add a little extra cushion to the prize pool, players do get paid out tonight, which is amazing. So we know the heat gets brought on, gets turned up even higher when there's a bigger prize pool to be had. So let's make sure we support the players, support the stream, support the matches, and support Match Reno in the process. Now, who are we supporting up next on deck?
Me and Flexus. No, I'm totally kidding. Actually, we're getting ourselves ready for the winner's side. Chris CCH versus Filipino Man. This is going to be one for the books because, again, these two are so familiar with each other. So familiar, in fact, they're part of the same training camp and friendship group for those that follow them on social media, right? This is going to be one that is tough to call. You're going to see a lot of certain sequences where Chris CCH might do something unorthodox, or Filipino Man might do the same. That's a little unorthodox, right? Solely because of the habits that they might have picked up against each other while playing against each other. So this is going to be pretty interesting to see. It might be the Luke versus the Rose, which is what I should be anticipating, what we should be anticipating, right? Those are the two tried and trues for these two players.
Yeah, now mind you too, Chris CCH does have a fantastic Sakura Super Strong, as well as he dominated the scene for quite a while with Seth. So we'll see kind of how it plays out. Any of his picks are really going to be in his favor here, but we are going to see the tried and true with the Luke versus the Rose. I like this Rose costume. This one's fun.
I think it's a JoJo's reference, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, I mean she's a whole JoJo's reference as a character from Lisa in part 2.
You must be careful.
I respect that. Flexus knows the lore. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I'm a big JoJo fangirl, but I'm also a fan of that DP on the whip here. That was pressure in the corner to Chris CCH. Backing up in Sandblaster range, but
yeah, that was a little tough too. Chris CCH is really well known for uppercutting through a lot of these projectiles, right? The heavy punch projectile in range, you are able to bypass that, but the airborne one is a little tricky.
No, yeah, absolutely right. But talk about tricky. We're navigating through the sandblaster range. Now, Rose doesn't have the worst projectiles in the world, but she does need to make sure she blocks these strings here. Oh, man.
I think that she is one of the better ones in the cast, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah. No, I would absolutely agree. But when we're talking better normals, we are also talking about great activation from Chrissy CH. Keeps the pressure going. You gotta block these. You gotta take the damage and take the round for Chrissy CH.
One of the biggest gripes I have about the Scarf sometimes with standing heavy punch is that it takes too long to recover, right? That is one of the bigger weaknesses that Rose has. Like, it's a highlight for her. It's like, if you see that shawl hang out there for more than it should, you better rip it. That's exactly what Chrissy CH did to get that previous round. And again, we're seeing this corner sequence from Chrissy CH, not letting go of the break. A ton of great caps in front of the Filipino Man. No activation off of the block sweep, and he's gonna pay for it dearly. You're actually better than better.
Absolutely. Oh, but he drops it. That is so unfortunate because that gives Filipino Man the opportunity jumping out and blocks.
You're dead. You're dead. No, he dropped the combo. Oh my god, that was actually the biggest damage you could have asked for. And
that is so unfortunate. No, the block is going to be a big punisher from Chrissy CH, closing it out. First match goes to Chrissy CH. That's heartbreaking. Heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak.
What's that?
Oh my god.
Get some help. What just happened?
I need therapy after that.
I don't even know what to do with my hands. You can't see the camera, but my hands have been up across my eyes for the last like 10 seconds.
Round 1.
That was unfortunate. Had Filipino Man, I mean, it could have been said for both ways, right? I think Chrissy CH had a big flub up earlier. Filipino Man could have really taken that round away off of a counter hit starter against the uppercut while in trigger, and he had full critical art. You easily could have killed him off of one sequence.
Oh, absolutely. It's just really unfortunate here, but it is going to take us into the next match, and we're not taking any of that meter with us as we're starting off a round. We are getting great health lead if you're Chrissy CH, backing up a little bit, but gets clipped.
Going into it, you see CCH kind of getting himself ready with that V-skill 1. And now checking the movement. Man, that flash knuckle again. Hit or miss, or sorry, hit or block. He would have been just fine. Hence the benefit of getting that V-skill charge up from CCH. But now Filipino Man still at that deficit. Raw activation from Chris.
Yeah, at that range, I think that's not an awful decision, especially because although her projectile takes up a lot of space, it's not the worst thing in the world, but you gotta be careful. You don't want to get clipped by that.
Throw. What's the sequence afterwards? Plus frame city. Another throw. We're trying to get a throw there. Filipino Man was checking the movement. EX Fireball actually caught the rest of that V-skill. You know what? I get it. I totally get it. Filipino Man was in hot pursuit. He caught Chrissy CH with the Soul Trap. Soul Bind. Thought he could extend the combo.
Unfortunately overextended. Had to pay for it here. Wall bounce carries him into the corner. Ideal situation if you're Chrissy CH, because you're going to follow up with a throw, some pressure, but can you close that out?
Oh boy, this is a Luke sequence if I ever seen. This is definitely, yep, that is 100% a Luke sequence.
The Luke classic, the Luke special even. You order at the bar, you know, like I'd like a Luke please, and you're gonna get just a cup full of sand.
Jeez. Oh, gross. I'd rather take a soul punish. Any sort of soul bind, soul punish, and soul drain, but no, none of the sand, please. It's a little tough right now. Filipino Man has not been able to exercise the strategies that he's been working on for a while, and I know, very, very close friend of mine, I know the kind of tech that he puts into the lab. It's just not enough when some of the tech is developed when he's playing against Chrissy CH, right?
Yeah, great finish there on the Soul Spiral, and he's able to carry that all the way through. Nice little throw here, follows it up with plenty more pressure to follow. Filipino Man taking his turn back though with the activation here. Gonna be a throw, no, misses the throw, just slightly out of range.
Now we see Filipino Man again trying to get that standing heavy punch. He follows it up with either Soul Spiral on hit, confirm, or Soul Spark on block, right?
Absolutely. There's a Soul Spiral again with the punish. He was ready for it. At that range, it's a little bit difficult. And CH gonna know it here. Just in the corner, but I'm scared if I'm Filipino Man right now.
Ooh, that could have been a whip punish for CCH. Actually, was the one that got whipped himself. You cannot get that sequence. You cannot get that sequence for free. Low forward into the fireball. There is a gap in between it for Chrissy CH to snipe. EX rocket uppercut, getting himself match point against Filipino Man, or match point situation, I should say.
Yeah, against Filipino Man here. It was so unfortunate, but the back throw gonna give Filipino Man a chance out of the corner here. But still, nice anti here to follow. Goes to look up the row. Stay in there.
Really? The interruption? I didn't think that was going to be enough for Chrissy CH to get the counter hit.
Oh no. Oh no.
You're absolutely. Okay.
Dead and down. But just down into loser side of things. So we'll still get to see some more Filipino Man and Rose action down into losers finals. Now I'm curious because he's either going to face off against the run back with Prototype, or he's going to have something new, a little bit of different flavor with Danny Pham.
I feel like with Danny Pham, I think he would take that more often than not, because they've also been within the same realm of practicing against each other, I think, or at least within the same friend circle, or at least a different friend circle, but they're still friends is what I'm trying to say. They've had plenty of practice against each other, but we'll see how it plays out, right? Again, Filipino Man, I don't think there was enough of a comfort level for him to execute what he was looking for. There were very significant drops from his side that is unorthodox to how Filipino Man plays. I think there was definitely a lot of mental in that game than it was the actual game itself from Filipino Man. Hopefully he gets to shape up, because that was not the Filipino Man that we're used to seeing. However, Chrissy CH taking full advantage of that. He's like, you know what? If you're not going to play your game, I'm gonna make sure you pay for it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And when we're coming into this top 3 type scenario here, the pressure really is going to be on, and it's going to play a key role. And you're already facing off against, I would say, among one of the best that the West Coast has to offer lately. But also facing off against a friend who knows your tech and who knows what you sometimes have in your back pocket. So you got to try and bring something new. And even if it's labbed out, you got to be able to bring that into a match against somebody like Chrissy CH. But enough about them. We're going to get into Prototype and Danny Pham.
That is correct. 2 beefy characters coming your way. If you didn't have enough meat in your life, we'll tell you what, there's going to be enough protein on the screen for all of us. Alex versus Zangief. Now, the difference between the two is that, Zangief, I feel like his normals may not have the most range, but his SPD is also one to really behold. But then you have someone like Alex, right? I think he's more of a brawler than a grappler, if I may so put it that way, because his normals are pretty damn good. He's going to be swinging it out more often than not instead of grabbing.
No, I would absolutely agree. And we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but we also have to talk about the fact that the throw range is going to play a little bit, especially when we're talking about Alex's game plan coming in. He does have that full 1 square throw range. Now, mind you, Zangief, not a huge difference with the 0.9, but it's still not going. Still going to have to see if he can face off. But hey, who needs a throw range when you're able to go in with the SPD here?
That's fair. Yeah, no, I think that's a fair assessment, to be honest with you. We'll see how that plays out right now. Dr. Danny Pham not having utilized any of the SPDs just yet. He did the crush counter earlier. Then again, another counter hit. A throw will do it. Or, an SPD. Did you see that sequence? Crouching jab, crouching medium punch. Still within range for a light SPD. And it doesn't even matter for Danny Pham if he doesn't get the Oki. That's done. He already knew it. He's like, this is the green light. I'm pressing the gas pedal.
It's a green light, and I'm wearing a green suit as I'm coming in, but the jump back away from the grab. Great situational awareness here from Prototype, but not enough to read through the critical art. Danny Pham gonna get a big chunk of damage.
Hit him with the season 1. Oh my god. That was actually the season 1. I feel like most of these cats actually got hit by that in Alpha 2. Not Alpha 2 specifically, but Alpha as well, the Alpha series. You see that little pump fake into critical art or in Super, man, you're great.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely gonna get smoke, but we have smoking hands out here if you're Alex. You can see it a little bit with the V-trigger activating. He's gonna get that nice buff coming into it too. But if we're talking buff, we're also talking buffers. Danny Pham ready to confirm.
Buff and Buffer, the newest movie, brought to you and directed by Danny Pham.
Now I'm curious. Oh,
It's actually kind of sick. So the DDT is only going to hit if you're caught standing. So that was pretty much a wish and a prayer from the side of Prototype. I don't recall what had gone through his mind like prior with that, with that activation. But Danny Pham, he didn't wait for it to finish. He actually punished it on the way over. That was pretty sick. That was the impressive part about it.
yeah, that was the buffer right there, buffering an opportunity. It's kind of like when you're waiting for a loading screen, it's the circle coming around is buffering, it's waiting. Your YouTube video hasn't played for yet.
Yeah, I don't even know if I have to press F5 to reload or not. Is it, do I wait it out or do I refresh now or what am I supposed to do?
Well, what we're doing right now for Danny Pham, charging up with the V skill, just waiting for it, just out of range to get anything off of that activation.
Dash up OP, what's the situation? Plus frames afterwards, V shift to get out of the danger. He is the one that knocks. Get out of there. Using that blue stuff in a different way to move on out of the pressure against the man who knocks.
Oh no, and knocking him down at that. Low-key, but okay, still has plenty of life, but activation time here for Prototype. And you use that stump to get in the distance, but the jab closes that round out.
Nice and easy, too, by the way. Like, he wants to be as risk averse as possible. Dr. Danny Pham pretty much stiffing out when it is his turn to actually strike. Like, you saw a sequence after a block stomp. You saw Prototype trying to go for a frame trap immediately afterwards. But Danny Pham, he was not budging one bit.
No, and unfortunately, that's going to cost him this time around. Missed the EXSPD. Missed it a second time.
Yeah, just a regular SPD out of range. Maybe being a little bit overzealous, trying to catch a normal from Prototype or thinking he's going to stay within that spot to catch. But still, Prototype, when you talk about that movement, though, oh boy. Actually, Powerbomb will do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just needs potentially one sequence to close it out here. But Danny Pham, I see that V trigger. I see you wanting it. Oh, there you go.
Damn, that's a lot of mileage, by the way. Although Alex's truck in the story doesn't work, I think his Crouching Strong does enough, more than enough, to get him to his destination, which is the W.
Here, and that punish is definitely going to be a great stepping stone towards that. Bringing with the chase down here. Look at this pressure from Prototype. Don't let the big scary green man fool you. You can still put some damage on the board too.
Does Alex count as the big scary man or big scary green man as well? Because he's wearing like full green overalls, right? Like if he buckles his back up, he's in a full green suit, no?
Yeah. I mean, do you think they like coordinated this?
Probably. They call each other the Night Fire.
Yeah, absolutely. But no phone calls after this here, backing up.
Visiting hours are over? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the determining factor of their friendship.
Oh boy. Someone's going to jail. Someone be stealing. People be stealing turns out in the training room. We have you on surveillance, by the way. We are streaming this. This is a live stream, so.
Oh, yeah.
You're getting caught red-handed every time.
911, I'd like to call, and I don't want the fireman Alex this time around. I'm calling for a real.
Oh, that's true. That's
Yeah.
also very true.
Different kind of 911 call.
Round one.
Someone's going to get put into the emergency room real soon, depending on who gets the grapple first. But now, again, Danny Pham just swinging away with that standing heavy punch. Now with a bunch of medium punches to occupy that space, right? He's looking for the... I love the chase, by the way. I love that chase going against Prototype.
Oh, man. Yeah, I like that confidence, too, because you have the opportunity to do that. Great punish there on the V's.
And I love it. Yeah, the counter hit. The crush counter at that. Checking the movement. You can see Prototype just trying to jump out of the corner. You saw it happen twice.
Ooh. Carries him from coast to coast, but no. Beat back right in the middle of the country, or at least in the middle of the training stage here. Danny Pham trying to create a little bit of that space, especially doesn't want to get hit with that V trigger still activated for Prototype.
Ooh. So scary. So scary. Oh! and this is going to be such a tough hill to climb if you're prototype. The trigger is still winding down just a little under 50% now, but he needs at least 2 sequences. That could have been it. That could have been one, but he doesn't want to let it rip yet.
No, you gotta be careful. You don't want to be too close to recovery, especially with the critical on the horizon.
It's so scary.
Oh, here it comes.
What happens after that? You tried to dash in? Oh my god.
Oh! EX down, but the wake up with the critical art heartbreaking for prototype. All that patience and effort. Just unfortunately not able to pull through. He's gonna show you how to plant a real tree.
That's true. He was the originator of the tree planting, actually. Zangief was here first.
That's true.
You're only imitating greatness. You know, what's so smart about the decision making, by the way, it gets rid of the threat of the meter. Sure, it's pretty risky if it's red, right? But at the same time, the amount of meter going into this particular round, prototype only had like a bar and like a fifth of it filled up.
Yeah, so it really wasn't a huge deficit either coming into
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
No, so again, spend the cash when you have it. You're going to have a nice full meal and feel full coming into this night to match here. Especially with the EX SPD, plenty of damage to follow. I like the chase up, but interesting walking into space. Oh,
And so scary too. It's this exact moment where he could actually, get whiff punish. I was gonna say, if Danny Pham can't whiff punish with the normal, the V trigger is gonna be more than enough. He tried to check with whether or not he went a little ham on the read, actually.
yeah, unfortunately just not able to work it out. Looked like maybe trying to go for an air-to-air, but backing up, creating a little bit of space, especially where the V trigger is still acting down the
This is where it all might come crumbling down. Dr. Danny Pham, a little overzealous. He went for the swag factor, right? He wanted to try to like get prototype to jump away so that he used the air burst dynamite, but no, it did not pay off, unfortunately. It would have been cool, don't get me wrong, but you know, it has to hit first.
Yeah, whoever wins this gets to wear the color green for the rest of the tournament. That's all I'm saying.
Man, that's not too bad. That's not too bad.
No, there are worse things to come about, especially if you're gonna get crush countered down the sweep. But
you could be forced to wear orange. I don't ever want to wear orange. I can't make that work.
no, orange is just not my color.
Oh, speaking of orange, glowing orange, EX SPD, I like that. It looks good on EX moves, that's for sure. But not on cold.
The punish! That looks good too, especially if you're Dr. Danny Pham here on the activation. That's unfortunate for prototype.
You see Danny kind of to normal. Oh boy, and he's out there. That's fine. That's not bad for Danny.
Nah,
Forcing
really,
the spinning of the meter.
yeah, honestly, not horrible. It does put prototype in an opportunity out of the corner, but back into the neutral here.
And it's so scary too.
Oh yeah.
Danny is still the one in control with the trigger, right? If prototype whiff punishes the normal, he's gonna get. Or sorry, if he whiffs the normal, he's gonna get punished. Just like that.
Yep.
Exactly what we talked about. Now Danny is in control. 13 seconds on the clock. You think you're gonna get out of the corner? No, you have to take a bunch of damage. You jumped in front of the. Oh my god. And yeah, this is the biggest thing. This was the biggest like gripe that Zangief players have. Why is EX SPD throwable?
That's wild. But you have to be ready for that. And he gets it. He was like, I know this man's going to EX SPD on wake up. I'm going to throw him the moment he gets up. And so knowing the timing of that too, really smart play on Prototype's part. That's devastating for Danny Pham. Especially because that puts another match on the board here for Prototype. And when you're in loser side of things, the pressure is on.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said, really, when it comes to the way that Prototype is playing against Danny Pham. But it's another thing to be said about how Dr. Danny Pham could have possibly taken it way earlier had he not gone for the air burst dynamite. Now this is going to be another chance for Prototype to sneak into the window, and now he's going to be kicking you out of your own home if you're not too careful.
Yeah, I do like the activation time here. Pull him in up close and personal. Get that nice selfie shot in.
Oh, he's just trying to have a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Nice intimate conversation.
Yeah. It's a conversation I'd rather be left out of that.
Yeah, I'm out.
Sure.
I'm out of there. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
No, thank you.
Oh, the still hilarious, just occupying so much space too. Tuck him in, night, dash up. No, he's gonna walk up and crouching medium punch to check the movement against Danny.
Yeah, we're talking about conversations here, but we let our actions speak louder than words. And the anti-air definitely checks him coming in for the forward approach. Danny Pham running out of options.
Oh, that was actually such an awkward exchange from both ends. But either way, Danny coming out with the back throw now. Watch out, he's still within range. Yeah, and the break to follow through. Excellent decision making on defense from Prototype.
No, really, really smart and well played, and especially because sometimes you can't afford to spend a little bit of that meter, especially with if it's a 2-bar B trigger. But we don't have enough time to spend it.
Oh, and out of all the normals you could expect, that was not one of them. Standing light kick to pretty much finish it out. You see the counter hit on the board. Prototype now looking at pretty much match point situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Danny Pham definitely gonna have a little bit of a life to climb if he can pull this through, but I still have some hopes here. Not down out for the count just yet. Still up close. The doctor is in the building, especially with damage to follow like that.
Oh, you tried to get a frame trap, not today. Not with Danny Pham has the churning skills. This guy's got the critical art again, so much damage. It's not gonna be too bad of an exchange now. Prototype actually making his way through. Gets the chop. Hyper bomb.
Yep. The dash in, but activation time, you gotta be a little bit more careful about your movement now. You do not want to get punished, especially with such a low life.
This is such a problem too. Danny Pham, again, in a very familiar situation. Does have a slight life lead. Prototype, he's scheming. He's scheming a little bit.
Yeah, but gotta be careful with that forward approach, especially because your V-trigger is out. If you're Prototype here, Danny Pham's still holding on to it, and he can afford to be a little bit patient, so.
And we'll see how it plays out, right? I don't think Prototype is gonna be going forward just yet, but Danny Pham is looking to strike right before the trigger ends. I'm actually checking him. That was so smart.
Yeah, pulls him in, but nothing to count here. But the timer is dwindling down, and Prototype's gonna have to start getting desperate, especially with Danny Pham having the life lead.
My God! Oh! No way! No, he could have flash chopped him! He could have gone for a flash chop for chip damage. Oh.
I didn't know. I wasn't sure because Danny Pham had that gray life. That was tricky.
Yeah, it was tricky. I think that was super hard to call. I don't know if that would have been enough either way.
Yeah, maybe, but man, it's still super rough here, and rough sending it into the next round. Prototype going to still sit on that match point, but like I said, the doctor's in the building. He can still feel pulse, but for how long?
No way. How many times has he landed that? I feel like that's his third wake up super, wake up critical art.
At least. It's definitely worked out almost every time too. He's been able to put it out there, and if you don't have an answer for it, if you don't have meter, you don't have an opportunity to make him waste that, you're gonna have to take damage, and it is a lot of it here. Using V shift though sends him back into the corner. Nice little position here if you're Prototype. Keep him there.
And the threat of the big Siberian train. Again, the trigger is still on deck, but is it going to be enough? Prototype is playing with the life lead just a little bit. Danny Pham, now he has to recalculate another option to get on in there against Prototype. You see crouching medium punch occupying the space. The jump in actually works out. That has been like, I don't know how viable an option has been because Prototype's been doing so well with anti-airing majority of the time.
Yeah, we're going to see that a little bit of desperation, but except it's going to be the other side. Oh!
It's going to be Prototype taking it over. Danny Pham 3-1, crouching medium punch. We talked about it literally before we got into the matchup, man. Alex, definitely the baller archetype. He's going to be doing a lot more swinging than he is going to be grabbing. And that exactly was the case towards the end. Crouching medium punch just having that much range, that much more range against the plethora of normals that Zangief has is just, it's going to be occupying so much more. There's going to be a lot more of a problem to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. But that isn't discount or discredit Dr. Danny Pham because he still had a lot of highlighted moments. Again, the amount of critical arts he was able to land and the times that he was able to read that forward approach and forward momentum really worked in his favor. And he's able to have some good pressure, especially earlier on in the bracket, but just not able to carry that pressure all the way through, especially stacked up against another high health character. He's faced off against lower health characters before, but now he actually has to work a little bit harder to get the damage on the board, and it just didn't work out. So huge congrats to Dr. Danny Pham. Still going to get points this week and still has an opportunity if he wants to continue on, but we are going to move into Filipino Man versus Prototype. This is the run back.
This is actually going to be kind of nice to see. Honestly, I want to know what Prototype has in store to get that double jeopardy situation in his favor, but I also want to know how Filipino Man has been feeling after his very, very big error against Chrissy CH. You see the big 3-0 fell a little bit short. I want to know if he had shaken off a little bit of the mental stack that he went through earlier in the winner's side.
Yeah, I'm curious though to see a Prototype, having faced off against Filipino Man, it was 3-1. If he has learned anything, especially moving through the bracket and coming into losers finals, what kind of technique or what kind of response he's going to have now? Again, first of 3, it's the best out of 5. Have some room to grow, have some room to learn, but you got to also have that room to be able to apply it. And we've seen Filipino Man already take it over him once. Can he do it a second time?
First off, we're going to see what it plays out between the character matchup itself. Is going to be still Rose? It is, actually. It's still going to be Rose instead of Chun-Li. I would have loved to see that maybe to be a little bit more aggressive. I didn't mean to pull your heartstrings on that one, Flexus, but I'll tell you what. Filipino Man, Rose versus Prototype's Alex.
Now, we've seen a lot of Rose, especially since she came out. I think that was kind of the character that spoke to Filipino Man. Now, was a Chun-Li main, but I expect the Rose is going to stick with it as we see here, but a lot of damage already coming from Prototype's side of things. But you're going to get hit with that activation.
It's so tough. It's actually so tough right now. That jump setup. You actually caught Prototype with the second punch afterwards. That was such a significant delay on that too.
You must be
absolutely. Bring out the card here, and I love the spacing awareness Filipino Man has for the Super Spiral. Just out of range to punish for it, and it really works out because it keeps him blasted. But activation time here for Prototype. This is his chance to shine.
Don't get bored. You are a genius. You are a beautiful-minded man. That was actually the sickest thing I've ever seen. Man, if only there are other words I could use to describe it other than what I just said, because I'm at a loss for words. Him reading the V-ship with the DDT was nuts.
Yeah, he really pulled out the book there. He read it word for word, and he knew what that ending was going to be before he even finished it. And that was going to give him the round, and going to give him another big advantage with the life lead here, keeping the pressure going. Rose has got to find an opportunity out of the corner. Otherwise, she's going to really continue to eat this damage, especially building up all that free life.
Yeah, there's a lot to eat, especially in the corner. This man is at the buffet right now. Filipino Man does have to get that activation going, push himself out of the corner, and does so, with punishment lariat. And this is going to be a very important sequence now. Does Filipino Man hold on to the meter, or is he going to get a confirmed to push Alex into the corner off of any sort of EX, right? He's looking for a hit confirm first, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to use that EX meter as an opportunity there to safely activate, but... Oh, the whiff! That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
I'm telling you, man, Prototype is a different creature of the night when it comes to whiff punishing and reads, man. Like, two of the people that stood out to me the most in this bracket was Prototype and Dr. Danny Pham, just because of the reads that they utilize against their match, or the opponents they play off against. But man, I didn't know it was going to be to this degree.
Round one.
Like, this man is like reading at a master's PhD level.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, you could take a picture of that and put it in a museum. It was that beautiful. It was in the museum.
It belongs in a museum. I hear Harrison Ford. I hear Indiana Jones. It belongs in a museum.
Just don't be in any pressure to steal it out here. But we are gonna steal out a chance, an opportunity to turn. Prototype trying to put his way in, but Filipino Man utilizing some of those projectiles to kind of keep that distance. Scarf.
And I love that. Way to bust out to Prototype now. Gets that tuck him in. Night. Watch out for the stun to Prototype. Applied a little bit of pressure afterwards. You didn't want to be overzealous with that, right? I don't think there's going to be another full sequence where you could have continually stacked on the stun unless you got to hit for free. Filipino Man now is on something.
Yeah, you mentioned a little bit earlier too with the quick red. You got to be careful with it when you have that activation there because you're going to have to leave the throw. You don't want to at this level, but still holding on a small bit of activity to your left.
That was disgusting. That was actually kind of sick. Oh, what was that? Prototype actually went for the stomp, but he hezzy.
Round 2.
That was a significant hezzy. He actually held back to not like. I don't know, it was to avoid something, but it was the fireball.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but still going to take it back, get a nice jump in here to start some damage. Ooh, with the overhead. Bonk on the noggin.
Oh boy, speaking of bonks, you just need one bonk to get. Okay, there's the soul bind anti-air coming in from Filipino Man. Does with the full-on juggle.
Right, here's the setup here. Got caught with it. The cross-up is hard to block. But that's going to be hard to block too. Uses the quick opportunity for the charge-up.
Standing heavy punch again, followed by the soul spark. EX soul spark in the air.
Ooh! The chase down with the soul spiral!
The classic afterwards, empty jump low to secure it. Tied one game apiece. Filipino Man with a very impressive sequence. There's a lot of conditioning towards the end as well. Prototype very much so willing to throw out crouching heavy punch to get majority of these anti-airs going. We've seen him utilize that throughout the tournament, really. Filipino Man changed it up twice over with like what jump EX soul spark numerous times, and then coming in hot with the jumping heavy punch. That's some solid conditioning, man.
You know, really working out in his favor. And that's the thing, too. You have to adapt with your opponent, right? So Filipino Man already sent Prototype down into losers once, but he does need to be able to adapt to face off against him the second time, especially because Prototype is still hot off the plate like into this match, but looking like things are...
I mean, you don't want to have a cold plate, depending on what the dish is, really. But it really depends, right? Filipino Man serving up a plethora of different dishes, right? Damage is best served cold. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Soul bind not going to be enough damage, but
nope.
The throw punch.
Yep, that will definitely do it. I really like a little bit of the sequence too. One with a cross and got the confirm, and then did the back throw to be out of the corner and with the stun. I like that. That was stylish.
That was quite the sequence, yeah, for sure. The plus turns afterwards, Prototype trying to move on with the stuns, but it's still not going to be enough. After you lose your turn, what do you do after that? Filipino Man has just had all the answers against Prototype.
No, absolutely. Yeah, he is reading him like a book. We talked about books earlier, and Filipino Man already been studying through. He knows what this match is about, and he knows what Prototype's about. See it right then and there. Stay on the ground.
Checking out the low, trying to cover the movement against Prototype, and yeah, that is a proper punish. Standing medium punch just well within range of throw, and then checking the movement again. Prototype getting the activation off of the sweep, very important now, but then Filipino Man getting an activation of his own. Boom, throw, you better get up. You don't have enough life. Oh, does it matter?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not gonna chip. That's not enough damage. He's on a mission.
Oh, but the fadeaway definitely going to be able to pull through. That was heartbreaking. That was scary if you're Filipino Man, because you put everything on black. You saw that the ball go around a couple times. You got a little antsy.
Those are not regulation stilettos. I feel like there's got to be something in the rule book where it's like 6 inches and lower. I don't know, man. Those heels are dangerous. So I shouldn't clip that high.
I don't know, maybe it makes up for the height difference between Alex. He crouching down, he's slouching.
Still, nobody deserves a heel to the eye. You don't know where those heels have been?
Definitely then up in winner's side of things here, but now in this final, Filipino Man sitting on the 2 points. This could potentially be the match for him to face off against Chris CH, but Prototype, again, sent down here before. He knows his matchup, and he knows the damage he's able to put on the table.
Yeah, it's literally the same person that put him down in the first place, right? There are some significant adaptations that have been made so far. The Filipino Man, again, not one to be complacent, right? He's going to have the strategies on deck just in case prototype happens to have moved into the beta since launch. It's still the prototype after all. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, he read the throw this time around. He learned his lesson. I love that. He gets EX Pham at close the distance. Blocks. This patient.
Oh no. Oh no. The stun gun headbutt? Come on now. I find it really impressive when Alex players can land the stun gun headbutt. I really do. No sarcasm. I really do.
No, I just the name of it is just so funny. It's just a headbutt so hard it stuns you.
Yeah, that's the whole reason about it. That's why it's a stun gun headbutt.
Absolutely. Here, blocks it, closes in the distance. Uses it for activation. Prototype struggling though to have any real forward momentum. Filipino Man doing a pretty decent job, but not decent enough to keep him at bay.
What is happening? What is actually happening? Look at the sequence here. Off of the soul illusion. You actually might be able to get a mix. Same side. That was actually disgusting. He forced Prototype to cross his own ankles. Filipino Man actually went down below to tie the shoes onto the other, like tie the laces onto the other shoe and just let Prototype walk.
Oh, Filipino Man bullying him out here.
You know, that sounds like Filipino Man to bully somebody on CFN. It sounds like him.
Yeah, just a little bit here, but hey, Prototype definitely no slouch. He's got a few tricks up his sleeve, rolling it in, but not able to read the throw this time around. Gonna have to take it.
It's tough. It's really tough right now. The trigger is still on deck. Yeah, he was forced to quick rise after that. He has to hold the mix, covering the options of jump. I love the option select from Filipino Man just in case the throw whiffs.
Jab here, so struggling to get out of the corner, but nice.
You see what I'm saying with the conditioning? The EX Soul Spark forcing Prototype. He did get hit the first time, and then allowed. See, there's just so much free reign in the air now.
Oh, the V-shift right at the end of the stalker that worked out beautifully in his favor, and the low closes it out for Filipino Man.
Rose.
All I know is that these cats can ball. Like these two are like. They were slugging it out towards the end. That's the kind of Street Fighter I love to see. But Filipino Man, again, you mentioned it earlier. That V-shift was so impressive against the Stomps. Like that's like at the very last second too. That's something else, man. That's reactions.
Yeah, you take that. You take a picture of that. And you put that next to the Mona Lisa because that was a work of art. It was done so well for Filipino Man, and it's gonna pay off because he's going to face against Chrissy CH in grand finals.
Again? Oh man. He has to face off against Chrissy CH like he wasn't doing so already, like before getting into the tournament.
Yeah, it's punishment for your crimes. You bully people, you get the punishment.
This is your Street Fighter crimes. This is what it is. Yeah, it's a long list of it, honestly. I mean, Chun-Li going off with Filipino Man first, hand in hand. That was the first strike for me, man. I gotta say, I know you're a Chun-Li fan, but man, that character is hard to play against.
I don't know. I mean, I'm having a great time over here, but because you play Karen, right?
I mean, I did, but it's not enough to get me into the World Warrior program. I'll tell you what, everybody's been competing for monthly events for majority of pretty much the world, really. It's been an international fair through and through. And what we want to kind of remind you folks at home, as you sign up, you do have a chance to compete in the regional finals. It is not too late. You may have missed the first one, but there's still plenty more to go up until November for your shot to qualify for the Capcom Cup, right? Although you are accumulating points, if you make it within the seat of top 8, it is a brand new top 8 bracket for the regional finals for that shot to get into Capcom Cup. Again, be sure to check it out. Get into your region. Make sure you don't miss it and mark your calendars. Start.gg/CPT 2022-WW. You do not want to miss this at all. Again, just in case you happen to miss it and you're checking out the VODs, well, if you see something crazy happen and you hear our voices go like crazy, you get to see an opportunity for you to clip it, right? The Community Clips Contest teaming up with Fresh Cut to provide not only entertainment, but also give back to the community as well. We do have this contest up to submit the best clip of the night for a chance to win a free sub to Level Up Live's channel. And of course, throughout the week, we'll be announcing 3 winners. Again, we are looking at those clips very, very closely. If you want more details on that, if you are a clip connoisseur, be sure to check it out. Scroll down a little bit on the webpage, on the Twitch channel for that panel to look at more information regarding this collaboration with Fresh Cut.
Absolutely. And I'm going to do just a really brief shout out and say, if you also want to check out without any scrolling, you can do !Matcherino. Go check out the Matcherino, use those coupon codes, use the sponsorship quest, go donate some money to the prize. We'll support the players that you see today. Because who are we supporting? Who's up next?
I mean, pretty much everybody in the top 4, but also at the same time, these two specifically, Chris CCH versus Filipino Man. One thing to note is that Chris CCH has been on a tirade. Currently sitting on the winner's side, but on his way over, he had taken out Eli the Curry. He had taken out somebody from Event Hubs. You got Catalyst, right? He went down 2-0 as well. Chris CH has been pretty much on a very hot streak, even against his tried and true training partner.
Yeah, and he took out Filipino Man, sending him into the loser side of things. But Filipino Man fought his way back up the surface, bringing out the poison.
Oh. I knew this was in his wheelhouse of options. I did not know if it was going to be ready enough for the Luke, actually. That is actually super clean for Filipino Man. Just the neutral jump. Had he pressed the button, he would have definitely gotten clipped. But getting the bait out against Chris CCH was very, very, very smart.
Yeah, absolutely. Now this is going to be a range that's going to be a little bit more comfortable. I mean, it's the same for as Rose, but you get a little bit more of that pushback with the whip if you're poisoned here. And again, at this level, with somebody you play so many times, it's a mind game, right? So bust out something that they're not going to expect, and I think poison definitely was a surprise for a lot of us.
Yeah, I think specifically for this matchup, there had to be some sort of like answer in the back pocket. I didn't know it was going to be the ways of poison, but again, Filipino Man had been practicing this poison throughout the season for a while, actually, even outside of 2022. In 2021, he had brushed up his character to be a very dominant force and streamed it as well. That's going to be huge. Another significant drop from Filipino Man.
Just not quite in range. Really, really unfortunate here. And used up all the Molotov. Really puts, I mean, even with the meter still, Filipino Man a little bit of a deficit.
That's actually not bad. Yeah, getting the anti-air immediately dashing forward. Chris CCH pressed the button thinking that it wasn't going to be Poison's turn, but Filipino Man, nice and easy. Didn't even have to commit to the movement a little bit after the knockdown. Just utilizing a longer reaching normal like media clip was more than enough to cover the media option.
No, you're absolutely right here. And talk about option. We push Chris CCH into the corner, but we have some nice lights to buffer out into something a bit bigger here. But I like Filipino Man really just forcing Chris into his face, and Chris is going to take advantage of it.
And again, after that forward throw sequence, if you time the roundhouse correctly, you will get it meaty enough to be plus on block. So again, Filipino Man not even trying to risk it whether or not the timing was off. The thermal barrack, again, just checking with the trigger more often than not is going to be the biggest intimidation factor for the move as the trigger runs down.
Yeah, there's going to be the critical art here. I think this is going to be enough to close it out because there's plenty of damage to follow.
Oof! You were not kidding. I thought there was going to be a little bit left. That was last hit to kill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a little bit scary, but when you have the Molotov melting down the health like that, adding a little bit of that extra cushion with a gray life, worked out in Filipino Man's favor. And he's going to put one on the board. Now, mind you, Filipino Man, of course, sitting on loser's side of things, he's got a long way to go. If he wants to make it, he still has 5 more games.
Fight!
There's going to be so much to go through, right? The more games, the better, though. I think Filipino Man, again, creature of habit, and also very good at reading what the opponents have to do or are trying to do to adapt. But I will say, it's, again, no easy feat when it's against someone like Chris CCH.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Again, Chris CCH sends him to losers, right? And Chris CCH among one of the top players here and showing that right now. A lot of damage, keeping the pressure. I like that. The ambiguous movement.
Oh, boy. Charge it up a little bit. Back throw for the most meter. After that whole sequence, Chris CCH looking real sharp in game number 2.
Oh, he learned his lesson. He's like, all right, I give you one. I'll give you one.
I'll give you one.
I'll download the match. And again, too, it's right, that element of surprise of having the poison come out when you're expecting regardless. You get a little bit of that stun, but CCH now looking great right now.
Man, what was that hammer fist on the way down? I haven't seen that normal in forever. damage. The throw is going to be more than enough for stun.
Oh, yeah.
To jump. Oh, that was too much block stun on it. Filipino Man actually got the back throw instead. Oh, you thought you could press the button?
Oh yeah, talking about throw, different kind of throw here. Activation time, gotta worry about the Molotov, especially when you're that low, but EX Sandblaster, or sorry, not EX, the buffered Sandblaster. Can the DP to count? Chrissy CH putting one on the board.
Wins.
Very convincing, by the way. That was 2 rounds straight where majority of the time Filipino Man spent pretty much most of his time down backing into the corner, right? I think Chrissy CH's pressure is one to really note. On top of that, there was one sequence that stood out in my mind. There was one where Chrissy CH had gone for forward, I think it was like forward fierce, and actually stole his turn back against Filipino Man with an EX uppercut. I'm like, man, you are dirty. That was actually pretty messed up. You were negative. It wasn't even your turn anymore, man.
It doesn't matter. Mom's not home. I get to play as long as I want. I'm unplugging your controller.
Damn.
We all know how it is.
Never, not ever. They gotta earn their right. No unplugging here.
No, but plug in is Chrissy CH with this pressure in the corner, especially relying on that nice buff with the meter. Yep, there's the trigger.
Oh, and the charge flashed up there. Yo, if you flinch the wrong way, you're done. Fighting for life, really. The Molotov is going to be cooking up. Chrissy CH, yeah, willing to kind of let go of the corner positioning just so he doesn't burn up as much. Oh, you're actually going to get punished for that. That's fine. The Love Nintendo does get sniffed at by Chrissy CH. What are you going to do on it?
Oh no! I was gonna say the EX was gonna bring him into range for a nice punish, but it just didn't quite work out because that's where Chrissy CH wants to be. He wants to be in your face to prove a point, especially with that nice loop of damage.
Yeah, there's just so many sequences that it can go off of, like, for frame traps, whether it be like starting from like that medium punch. But most of the time, I think the Chrissy CH has been fishing a lot with some of the further out normals like catching medium punch. But this is gonna be like good extension for Filipino Man. Not only the damage, but the mix of potential off of these skills. So smart.
Oh, but the back throw, get that little extra buff of damage too to make sure to close out the round. Especially because back throw does more damage than forward throw. So I like that answer from Filipino Man. Closes it out 1-1 round across the board.
Yeah, no chaser. I'm liking this now from Chrissy CH. That one sequence of opening up the no chaser into the Adore. Or actually, that's the Adventure. Here's the Adventure. Excuse me. He's got so many different sequences for his run.
Definitely more than I can handle, that's for sure. And especially going to be a lot for Filipino Man to handle. But activation is really good with that breathing there. Molotov goes over him, but sets him up behind. But punish with the critical art.
And it's enough damage! That was actually very surprising. The very last hit, I thought maybe poison would be durable enough, but that was actually kind of surprising. That was nuts. I didn't expect it to go all the way. I genuinely did not expect it to like kill that much raw, but it's pretty nice.
Poison doesn't have the most robust health. Like, she doesn't have the least, but sitting at only 975, like, not the most robust health in the roster. So you're gonna have to be stuck with that damage, and we're also gonna be stuck coming into character select here. I wonder if we're going to see the Rose.
I don't know. I generally do not know. I think he's more inclined to pick somebody else, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was the Rose, just because that's the majority of the picks that Filipino Man had gone through. So it's just one thing to note that he fell short to Chrissy CH prior in the winner's side because of that Rose, and I don't know if it's going to be enough. I think if you're really thinking about it, if he had not dropped significantly the first encounter, I think he would have been just fine. So maybe he was shaking off some of the mental, and it's Chun-Li. That's what I was going to get into. I was thinking to myself, it might be the Chun-Li pick.
Round one.
I'll try not to show any bias. I'm really stoked because I love Chun-Li.
Too late. Just kidding.
No, but I will say Chrissy CH sitting at 2 matches here too. So Filipino Man really gonna have quite a ways to go, and the pressure's gonna be on, especially if he gives this round to Chrissy CH. But Filipino Man gonna play that neutral a little better. This is a nice comfy space for Chun-Li, but she does have to worry about the Sandblaster, one of the best projectiles in the game, and you don't have a ton of options to combat it. Medium punch, but EX Light's going to walk him into the corner.
And that makes sense, right? From like a closer distance, you can catch a medium punch, but it's just, I think the Sandblaster is just way too quickly for you. It's very difficult to. There is another option in mind. You can contest it with like maybe a token further out to like move it on there, but again, we'll see how that plays out. I don't think that's going to be the options just yet. Chrissy CH going to be the one firing back with his own trigger after the dragon combo. Filipino Man using Hazanchu, moving his way on in. Still stuck in the corner yet again.
Yeah, but not the worst place to be. I actually didn't even notice it with the V-Skill too. That could be another option too with the Sandblaster, right? Over the Sandblaster there, but neck for neck here.
Yeah,
And
so
Chrissy
far.
oh, the critical art too. I see it.
You know, I don't think it's going to be a chip sequence. It will be if he catches somebody flinching into a combo, but I don't think it's going to be a chip sequence just yet. Filipino Man is the one in control, actually. And that's fine. Yeah, chipping away a little bit. Man!
No! Oh, the block on the cross up here! Gotta be careful, the timer's running out and gets eaten with the Sandblaster. That is heartbreaking for Filipino Man. That's what I was talking about before, though. He was able to use the fucking medium punch after the Sandblaster, gain a little bit of that closure, but you gotta be careful with the recovery.
Oh boy. Standing like it, actually being able to use it as an anti-air, you know, shades of previous seasons. You can see it.
And talking about shades coming in with some sunglasses when you got all of this. The activation time gives you a double hit Hazanchu.
You know, you talked about Hazanchu being one of the tools to kind of get past. You know, I don't even think we're going to talk about it. You know, congratulations to Chris CCH. That's going to be more than enough damage. Our first World Warrior champion going into it for Wednesday night fights. Representing the West Coast, Chris CCH with that loop, taking down Filipino Man yet again in a double Jeopardy situation. Your champion for our very first World Warrior.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic job done by Chris CCH. I mentioned this before, but he is one of the top players on the West Coast, and it's really unfortunate to have to face off against, you know, your training partner, your pal, your buddy, but still showed that even with some of those prize picks that he was able to combat against a variety of characters and reign supreme. But this is just one tournament among many as we continue to have multiple World Warrior tournaments under Level Up Live's belt for the West Coast. But I believe we're going to be having an interview coming up with Chris CCH shortly to see how he feels.
That's going to be happening a little bit later for the most part. I think right now, as it stands, again, being able to take advantage of the time that you've put in playing against your teammate is a huge deal, right? I mean, being able to download and dissect the strategies while at the same time taking whatever you had done to practice against your training partner and have you take down the rest of the competition is like a pretty significant deal, right? I think it just the way it pans out, it should be a good thing. Like seeing your buddy up there as well in the grand finals or winners finals and then grand finals over is obviously a sign that you're both doing it right to lead you on into the next couple of events. It's definitely not going to be the last we see of Filipino Man, again, taking away a significant amount of points either way, all things considered, right? When you look at the point system, first place is like 50 points, second place trailing like right behind with 40. That's not too bad at all, right? So either way, congratulations to our top 8 through and through. Chris CCH sticking it out all the way pretty much very significantly, right? The most losses that have incurred in his matches have been just one, right? 3-1, 3-0, 3-1 again, looking absolutely dominant for the bracket here on the West Side.
No, he really was able to clean it up and pull through straight up until the end. And he is going to get the most amount of points coming into this, but that doesn't mean the rest of our top 8 will go home empty-handed. They're also going to get some points, leading them at least into a nice position coming in. And talking about nice positions, if you want some points on your side of things too, you can also enter in to the Wednesday Night Fights West Coast World Warrior Tournament. You can compete in monthly events, and if you get enough points, if you beat Chris CCH in points, you got to get at least 50 or more at this point. You can get a chance to win in the regional finals or compete in the regional finals for a chance to qualify for Capcom Cup. Now, mind you, if the West Coast isn't your region and you're watching from a far off land, whether that's east, west, or somewhere in between, there may be a World Warrior tournament near you. Tomorrow, I believe Incendium is going to be hosting the Canada East tournament. And of course, there is East Coast and it's around the world. So check out at start.gg/CPT2022-WW to see where it is in your region that you can compete.
Yeah, and this is an incentive that I've been looking forward to a very long time, as well as this one right here, this collaboration with Fresh Cut alongside Level Up. It's been one that's been going on for quite a while. If this is your first time seeing it, this is the Community Clips Contest, where we highly encourage you guys, those that are watching each and every one of these tournaments as they happen, to clip some of your favorite moments and have them curated with Fresh Cut. If it happens to be one of the best clips, well, guess what? You get a chance to win a free sub to Level Up Live's channel, which is a pretty big deal, right? Again, if you're a fan of the channel, you get to have those free emotes and a lot of the other sub perks that may come with it, like maybe a couple of games with Papa Valle, who knows? But either way, 3 winners will be announced throughout the week. If you want more information and details on that, be sure to scroll down and hit that panel for Fresh Cut. Again, is the Level Up Live series collaboration with Fresh Cut for the Community Clips Contest. You don't want to miss it. We're going to be announcing those winners pretty much over time. I mean, it's been happening for each and every one of these events. So we do want to give a big shout outs to everybody that's been coming through with the match Reno as well. The last time we checked on it before the grand finals, it was indeed at $150. You guys are absolute beasts, by the way. You guys have been so consistent and so generous with your time, as well as your efforts to boost the prize pot for the rest of the top 8, for at least the top 3 technically.
Yeah, and all codes have been claimed, which is amazing, but that still means you can complete sponsorship quests on the right-hand side and feel a little extra change in your pocket. You can certainly put it into the prize pool to help support the amazing players and talent that you have seen today.
And we are getting ourselves ready for that interview as well with Chris CCH, little by little, right? We are still setting it up, so we do appreciate your time and patience. But for the most part, again, Fluxus and I have been looking for this event for a very long time, right?
Yeah.
Even before, a little bit before the announcement. Just the fact that the World Warrior program has been reaching on a world scale, right? Hence the name. Not only does it tie in with, the whole Street Fighter theme, but everybody along for the ride, right? We get to highlight all of these communities and give another chance at pretty much a shot into Capcom Cup for someone like Chris CCH, right? Like, he didn't get to qualify from the NA West, but like, he's getting closer and closer to it now. And now we get to talk to him in full effect. Yo, what's going on, Chris? You can hear us, right?
I can hear you. What's up?
That's my man. First of all, always get to hear and see you, by the way. I love seeing the way you play with that Luke, and it's been pretty impressive. Even the Seth, actually, I wanted to know if there was going to be any sort of set that was going to come out. But looking at it with your top 8, just off the bat, who did you deem as your biggest threat before even getting into this tournament today from the top 8 itself?
It's definitely Filipino Man. I mean, I kind of predicted as soon as I looked at the top 8 especially, I thought it was going to be me versus Filipino Man in winners finals and grand finals for sure. And my prediction was correct. It's always back and forth between us, so I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't necessarily expect his character picks in grand finals, but his other characters are very scary as well. I thought he was just going to stick to it with Rose for the whole way. But yeah, he's who I deem to be my biggest threat in this tournament and kind of in World Warrior in general, I would say. So yeah, it wasn't too surprising with grand finals to me.
I was going to say, now when we're talking about characters that you would select, obviously you've been sticking with Luke pretty hard. Do you think you'll play him in Street Fighter 6?
He'll definitely be the first character I try out. At this point, I think people, if you've been following the characters I pick for a while, you've noticed I tend to pick characters that are quite powerful, you might say. So if Luke is good in Street Fighter 6, if he's like top tier, as good as he is in this game, I'll definitely just be playing him at least until he gets nerfed. But yeah, he'll be the character I try out. But I always like playing all the characters, so I'll try them all out. And whoever I feel like is strong and like fits my style, and I have like a strategy I can be confident playing with them, that's who I'll end up playing. But since Luke looks very similar in Street Fighter 6 as he does in Street Fighter 5, I think it'll be like very easy to transition over my skills to him in that game. So that could be, at least for like very early on in the game, like it could be good, I think, to just use Luke.
Yeah, I think that's the right mindset to have, really. And talking about the skill that you've pretty much shown off in the course of time, over the course of time, really. Watching you from a very early age, I think watching you from your breakout performance over in, I think it was one of the big events up in like NorCal, see where you had flown out. And then watching you transcend from there, looking at it like, what were some of the skills that you use in mind for some of the opponents you had today? Because you had to play against pretty much 2 people for the top 8. You had Dr. Danny Pham, who is phenomenal when it comes to reads, and then, of course, your training partner. I kind of want to ask you about the skill set and the mindset that comes into it. When it comes to somebody who has phenomenal reads, like what has been like your biggest advantage against playing somebody like Dr. Danny Pham, as we saw when you laid it down 3-1? What was going on through your mind when you played that matchup initially? Because that could be a dice roll for either of you.
Yeah, I mean, against Danny specifically, you talk about training partners. Of course, I train with Anton all the time, especially since like pandemic and everything, we're playing online. But I mean, Danny, I've been playing practically since I picked up this game in the first place, because we've been like two of the top players in Seattle since, and like even going back as far as like late season 1 pretty much. So I've been playing against him forever. So whatever matchup I play against him, I'm like, I think we're both very comfortable in each other's play styles and knowing exactly what we're going to do. So you saw like certain interactions against him specifically. Like I think there was one round I landed 2 wake up throws against him. There's like some interactions you can see where it's just, we both know the player and our options in the matchup like down to a T. So you can get some funny interactions like that. But like overall, as far as getting better as a player, like I think you mentioned the tournament in NorCal. I would assume you're talking about the Geico tournament.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, the Geico tournament.
Yeah, it's still a fresh memory in my mind. I remember like your mom being there as well and how happy you were taking that down. Yeah,
that was a fun tournament too, because it was the first time I ever used like soccer in a big competition. Because it was like literally I had 2 days to practice after the patch dropped, and then I immediately went out there. So I was like, all right, Guile is nerfed a lot. I'm just gonna play soccer. You tried
Guile too. I was just like, man, please don't do it, because I was watching your journey like up until that point. I'm like, please God, use the soccer. It was
also all soccer for me in there. I think I can't remember if I switched to him against like Samurai or something, but I think I just used all soccer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I panicked. I low-key panicked. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I should have just used all soccer. But I mean, to be fair, that matchup was really bad for soccer. I already knew that. So, you know, it wasn't a bad choice. But since there, I mean, in that tournament, I was only 16 years old. So obviously there was a lot of growth to go from then to now. I mean, I'm still super young. I'm not trying to call all you guys old or something.
Yeah, no, yeah, you are.
I'm still super young. It's fine. Yeah. So there's been a lot of things I had to learn. I think the biggest thing is I've always been pretty good at reads, I would say, but you got to learn when you don't need to go for reads. Like when you just play the risk reward and you just play it totally safe. That's been a big thing. Kind of just playing patient in general and learning when to not do stuff. I've always been good at doing stuff, but learning when not to do stuff and when to just play, like, you know, play safe, play whatever the meta is, choose, you know, just logical options there instead of going for any sort of reads. That's been something that I've had to learn. And players like specifically Nephew and Samurai have definitely forced me to play that way, because the way I used to play would just not work against those players at all. I was literally never able to beat them in tournament. So players like that definitely forced me to kind of evolve as a player and become more patient and kind of more, I would say, logical instead of reads based for the most part. I can still pull out that style, but like, it's a matter of knowing when I need to use which style.
Right.
Now, I gotta know. You faced off against your friend, you know, your training partner, Filipino Man. You faced off against some people that are you played plenty of times, but if you could face off against anybody in this bracket again, you know, whether for bragging rights, for a chance to win, who would you want to face off against? Who did you have the most fun playing?
I want to play Danny again, because originally my intention was I was going to use Colleen against Danny to avenge Nephew, but I decided I wasn't going to play Colleen. But maybe if we played again, I'd pull out the Colleen. So that could be fun. Or I could pull out the Pham. Either one, that'd be pretty fun.
Oh, God.
My
brother.
Yeah, come on.
Brother.
My Pham is sick. You never seen my Pham, bitches?
I believe it.
You never seen it?
It's just nasty. Like, just in general, like, Pham, he's a cool character. But, man, he struggled for so long. It's kind of funny, like, seeing him brought back to life in this season. So it's like, I don't know if I'm ready for that, really. I believe it though. I mean, you're a multi-talented individual with character, so I'm definitely one of a believer of sorts too. But with that in mind, again, we appreciate your time and showcasing some of the strongest that we could ever really see from the West Coast and representing so well. This is actually your time to shine, man. Where can they find you over on social media if you want everybody else to start following along your journey? If it's, you know, it's never too late to start now. Again, Chris CCH being one of the most highlighted players in the West, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at ChrisCCH_, also Twitch, ChrisCCH_. In fact, I'm streaming right now, so if you want to come and watch the interview from a different perspective, feel free, but I'm probably going to stop streaming after this is over anyways. So,
come on, man.
I'm pretty tired. This is a long top 8. First of 3 all the way through. It's been like 3 hours of playing right now. It says right there, the session's been going for 3 hours, 7 minutes, and 23 seconds. So this has been a long journey. I've got anime to watch.
Come on, brother.
Yeah.
Come on,
very
man.
important.
Well, I'll ask you about your anime picks at another time. Again, you can find them all over on social media. It's been an absolute pleasure. Chris CCH, again, our champion for the World Warrior, our first one. Flexus, your closing thoughts, by the way, before we close out?
First off, amazing tournament. Great job, Chris CCH, and great job to the rest of the competitors. Make sure you support not just Chris CCH, but everybody you saw on screen today. Make sure to also go and support Level Up Live. You can give them a follow on every social media platform known to man and womankind alike. And of course, if you want to keep up to date with me in my commentary journey, I am part of EXO Academy right now. So I'm going through their boot camp and their training for some up and coming fun projects in the horizon. You guys can go check me out. Pretty much anything that says Flexus on it. So Twitter, Flexus _, Twitch, Flexus _, Instagram, Flexus Flexin. But my if we're talking anime, the Space Cowboy Vicious.
Yo,
where can they find you?
That is at Vicious FGC pretty much all across the board, because I couldn't get the word vicious by itself because it's an actual word, right? So it's going to be kind of tough, but Vicious FGC is where you'd find me. That's going to pretty much do it for all of us here at Level Up, pretty much Level Up Live right now, again, with the World Warrior program. My wires are getting caught. I'll tell you what, we're going to close it out here. We'll see y'all for the next one. Take it easy. Peace.